Back in Cleveland, the weatherman said it would rain today. It is doing that. It is a drizzle that may get heavier. We will see. Another new addition to our wonderful crew is down on the sidelines, Melanie Collins. Melanie.
Thank you, Greg. Well, you mentioned those 10 new starters for the Cleveland Browns. One of them is filling the void at left tackle for Joe Thomas, who held that position for the last 11 years. His name is Desmond Harrison. He's an undrafted rookie free agent making his first NFL start today. He took 2 years off from football and worked for a moving company before finishing his collegiate career at West Georgia. Hugh Jackson told us he's one of the most talented players on this team. And for Tyrod Taylor, he said the key for me is going to be that I have to get the ball out early on so that Dez can gain confidence from the get-go.
Melanie, thank you. It'll be a while before he gets to play because Cleveland won the toss and they have deferred, which means the Steelers will get their hands on the football first. If you're a quarterback, Trent, how do you feel about an undrafted free agent on your blind side?
Well, that's always an interesting proposition, and you have to think that there would be some nervousness, but we talked to Tyrod Taylor about it. He said, listen, I have complete confidence in him, and you consider the chance that they took, and they're rolling with him today. So he's going up against T.J. Watt.
Ryan Switzer will not run this one out of the end zone. And the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger will start on the 25-yard line. It is a slightly slimmer Ben Roethlisberger as this season begins. Boy, 4,251 passing yards last year. And look at those numbers against the Cleveland Browns. Talk about an uphill battle for the Browns and a reason to be out there.
Well, and even going back to last year in week one when these two teams faced, they did an effective job. They held the Steelers to under 300 yards. And Greg Williams said, the defensive philosophy I had a year ago isn't going to be the same this year because we have better talent on the defensive side of the ball.
Double tight ends to start for the Steelers. No Le'Veon Bell. It's James Conner. He gets the handoff and busts out for about 3 or 4 yards. Trayvon Coley making the stop.
Yeah, the Steelers come out in their big package, and they talked a lot about this the other day, going in multiple sets early in the game to find out how they want to play them.
Well, and it's interesting. The very first run, James Conner said, I like zone runs. I like running between the tackles. What do? The first time they hand him the ball, zone run in between the tackles.
Downhill, baby.
That's right.
After a pickup of 3, it's 2nd and 7. Roethlisberger to throw. Conner out of the backfield. Across the 30 to about the 33-yard line. It'll be 3rd and 2 as you take a look at the Cleveland defense at the bottom of your screen. Some pretty solid contenders in there for Player of the Year. But Christian Kirksey and Joe Schobert are a pair of terrific linebackers.
Well, and they're excited not only about those two at linebacker, but Jamie Collins, who missed a bunch of games last year because of a foot injury. Having those three, they think those 3 linebackers match up with anybody in the league in terms of their defensive leaders.
Big down early in the game. You always want to make that first third down conversion.
Third and 2. On the slant, incomplete. Intended for Antonio Brown.
The Browns have 8 defenders at the line of scrimmage. AB's in the slot. He just does a quick slant to the inside. Roethlisberger, I'm not sure if the ball slipped out of his hand or what. That's uncharacteristic of Ben.
Yeah, that's where he was looking for that one. That was amazing that he missed that one.
Jordan Berry kicks it away. Antonio Callaway, the rookie, will watch it sail out of bounds. This will be terrific field position for the Cleveland Browns.
The special teams played a huge part in this game last year, and I think it's going to be a huge part again today.
Little trash talking along the sideline. That doesn't happen among division rivals, does it? There's Tyrod Taylor. Tyrod Taylor, last year, quarterbacking the Buffalo Bills to their first playoff season in almost forever. And he's the 29th different starting quarterback for these Browns since the franchise returned here in 1999. That's a lot of quarterbacks.
Yes, it is. And I coached too many of them.
Carlos Hyde in the backfield. 2 tight ends. Taylor on the move, gonna keep it. And across the 40 to about the 41-yard line, maybe the 42.
Well, talking to Tyrod Taylor yesterday, or 2 days ago, he was saying that he loves this Todd Haley offense because it gives a lot of freedom at the line of scrimmage for the quarterback as we take a look at the offensive line, or we take a look at the offensive starters down there at the bottom of your screen. But Tyrod Taylor, he said, if you saw that first play, you saw him check at the line of scrimmage because the Steelers had so many defenders at the line of scrimmage, and that got him outside contained. We're able to pick up a big first play.
He picked up 6. It's now 2nd and 4. Got rid of it. And the Steelers are all over the tight end, David Njoku. Look at the Steeler defense at the bottom of your screen. It includes second-year linebacker T.J. Watt, who made a splash in this very game as a rookie a season ago.
Yeah, you saw Tyrod boot right to the left. That's unusual. Most times right-handed quarterbacks go the other way. Bud Dupree played a heck of a play.
We talked about the Steelers in their third down. Now the Browns have their first opportunity to convert.
Duke Johnson in the backfield. And we get a false start.
False start, offense number 75, 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
That penalty is on Joel Bitonio, the left guard. Referee today is Sean Smith.
That's the one thing you don't want early. Penalties, you know.
Right.
You're a little too anxious, but you're back in the Steeler favor now in this down and distance.
3rd and 8. And we get another flag.
False start, offense number 69, 5-yard penalty, remains third down.
This one is on the rookie left tackle Desmond Harrison.
Coach, you talked about how a penalty on the first drive gives you. How about 2 of them? You had 3rd and 3. They're sitting there at 3rd and 3. Now all of a sudden, 3rd and 13. It's a much different play call.
Yeah, they're getting used to that voice, that new quarterback, but that's inexcusable to have those 2 penalties. They've gone over this script for 3 days.
Taylor on the move, up the middle, trying to trip him up from behind. He dove and he got the first down to about the 48-yard line.
You can't say enough about the job that Desmond Harrison does. The job that Desmond Harrison does. Bud Dupree is going to be coming around the end here, and the block, he just continues to run and chase him around. Dupree brings that pressure, and Tyrod Taylor, is what he does. He slides up in the pocket. He's not going to force the throw up the field, and with the drop-in coverage, left him the lane to pick up the first down.
2 carries, 21 yards rushing for Tyrod Taylor.
Biggest thing Mike Tomlin talked about all day yesterday was do not get behind the quarterback. Exactly what they do.
Taylor off the seam, incomplete. Njoku, the intended receiver. Njoku's second-year tight end out of Miami.
I go back to our conversation we had with Tyrod Taylor and the amount of respect that he has for Njoku, and he said the weapon in the matchups that it creates, it's not a surprise. Even though that was a contested tight throw, he's going to give him those types of opportunities because Tyrod really trusts him.
He loves the jump ball, and he tried to give it in the back shoulder jump ball right there.
So it's 2nd and 10. And this is Carlos Hyde. And Hyde squeezing across midfield into Pittsburgh territory at the 48 where T.J. Watt makes the tackle. Talked about that impact that T.J. Watt had a year ago when the Steelers opened here. He had 2 sacks and an interception, which is a nice way to debut in the National Football League.
Well, it was a perfect way for him to debut, and I go back to that. I go back to that interception. If you remember, that was a throw out to the left side. Kaiser tried squeezing it over the top on a comeback, and T.J. jumps up one-handed and brings it in. That was a big momentum change in that game.
Taylor on the quick slant, incomplete. Intended for Jarvis Landry and broken up by Mike Hilton.
That's the guy Mike Tomlin was just bragging on all day yesterday. He is a football player, reminding him a lot of Rondé Barber.
Well, and that's a huge compliment because Mike Hilton, second-year player, only 5'9". He's going to have those matchups in the slot. He's a quick defender that can cover guys, that time able to knock it away and prevent the first down.
Yeah, both these nickels are both 5'9". They're going to be huge matchups in this game today.
Ryan Switzer lets it roll into the end zone for the touchback. 10:08 to play here in the first quarter. Pittsburgh and Cleveland scoreless as we kick off the 2018 season. back in Cleveland as Mike Tomlin reintroduces himself to the officials. Coach, you have a game plan for both of you.
Oh, there's no doubt for Pittsburgh. Talked about it all day yesterday. They got to tackle. They got to minimize the yards after catch with these great Browns receivers. And for the Steelers, they live and die on chunk plays, 25 yards or more. Cleveland's got to stop Antonio Brown. If they have to double team him all day, they can't let what happened last year happen again. And Tyrod just got to beat him as he's already started with his arm and his legs.
Roethlisberger wide open over the middle. That is Connor out of the backfield. 2 receptions for Connor on the day and a first down at the 32-yard line. If there's one thing James Conner worked on during the offseason, it's catching the football.
Well, and everybody said it. Everybody that we talked to said that James Conner, he knew that was an area of his game that he needed to get better at, and he spent a lot of time doing it. He's already got 2 catches here today, which is 2 more than he had all of last season.
And I think you play that soft zone, you're playing right into Ben's hands. He's going to find his tight ends and his backs, and they're going to get those good yards for you.
Well, and if you don't keep contained, allow him to slide out of the pocket like that. Buy time.
This time it'll be Connor on the ground. Finds room left side across the 40, out to the 42. It looks like room for another first down.
Now that's what they want to do. They want to get in that big package, got the fullback in there, 2 tight ends, and just pound it straight ahead because that's his style of play, and he's punishing those safeties.
I know we've said it already a couple times, but that zone run inside between the tackles, that's what James Conner likes doing. He used his vision. That was a handoff to the right. He noticed they collapsed all the way back to the left side. He saw the hole there, was able to crease it, get the first down.
What kind of pressure must that be? Says, oh, you get to fill in for Le'Veon Bell.
I mean, this guy's been waiting for this opportunity his whole career.
Connor.
Had a chance for a big one, Trent. Just tripped up a little bit. He saw the hole. He talked a lot about having patience, learning it from Le'Veon Bell yesterday when we talked to him. He could have been just a tick little bit later on with his patience right there, and he'd had another 10-yard run.
Well, and let's not forget, Greg, let's not forget a year ago, this Cleveland Brown defense, Greg Williams came in. They went from 31st against the run to 7th against the run, and a great improvement. So 7th-ranked defense against the run. Already Pittsburgh is showing an effectiveness running the football.
Connor to the sideline with all 31 of Pittsburgh's yards from scrimmage so far. And we're going to change footballs. It is raining.
This is the Joker package. Tight ends in the backfield.
See, Hugh Jackson did not like the timing of the change of Ben getting a dry football, probably. Roethlisberger waits, pulls it down, now throws, complete, incomplete. At the 45, Ryan Switzer had it and dropped it. Christian Kirksey was there.
Well, and as much as anything, Hugh Jackson's not happy about the fact they gave him a drive football, and secondly, the play clock was down to 10. They all of a sudden decided they want a different football. They switch it out, which also gives them a new 25-second clock. Switzer, who just came over in a trade from the Raiders, he gets an opportunity right there, not able to hang on to it, setting up a 3rd and long.
Yeah, they had a big package for him being there so just a short minute of time. He's got to make those kind of catches. That's what he's there for.
James Conner back onto the field in the slot to the bottom of the screen on 3rd and 9. Quick pass to the far side. That's complete. Juju Smith-Schuster. Penalty marker is down. And let's check the flag. Looks like it's going to be
Illegal
Pittsburgh.
block in the back. Offense number 11. That penalty's declined. Result of the play is 4th down.
Justin Hunter guilty of the block in the back.
Yeah, Cleveland coming with that interior pressure up the middle in both A-gaps and making Ben throw those outside screens. And it's just one-on-one out there. You got to have great technique and block your guy, and you'll make your first downs.
Antonio Callaway awaiting the punt from Jordan Berry. Fair catch called for. They'll let it bounce at the 20. It takes a Steeler bounce inside the 15 to the 14-yard line. 7:39 to play in a scoreless first quarter. 2 old rivals doing battle once again.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by McDonald's. Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. And by Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you.
2 players dominating the offense so far. James Conner, all 31 of Pittsburgh's yards from offense. Tyrod Taylor accounted for 21 of 26 for Cleveland, and he's ready to throw, pulls it down, nowhere to go, and he's going to go squirming out of the pack and down at about the 8-yard line, maybe the 9, and a late flag flying in.
They're going to get T.J. Watt when Tyrod Taylor spun out of that. Interesting here if they wave it off or not, because it was hard to hear that whistle.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 90. 15-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic first down.
Watch Tyrod Taylor. He's going to spin out, and it's Watt that comes up. The whistle, comes in right at, you can see the official hold his hand up. It's that shoulder to the head.
Yeah, it was the blow to the head.
It was the blow to the head more than it was the hit, as far as the timing of the whole thing, because that whistle came in after Watt had already committed.
Taylor dancing, got to get rid of it and throws it at the feet of Carlos Hyde. It'll be 2nd and 10.
So far, both teams' pass rush are winning this front battle. I mean, these quarterbacks aren't getting their feet set very long, and you saw him right now have to get that ball out way too quick.
Back to the line of scrimmage in a hurry on 2nd and 10.
We're going now, 3-4. 2-8.
Taylor slides down across the 25 to about the 26. Had Carlos Hyde in the flat and thought better of it.
Again, Mike Tomlin, he talked about this whole time about them containing Tyrod Taylor and not rushing up above the quarterback and opening up that lane to get out. He's going to kill you doing that.
Well, there's a lot of conversation about Tyrod Taylor and how well he protects the ball. He doesn't throw interceptions. Is he more cautious than he should be?
Well, and I think the example of that was on this last play. He had a corner route open. He stepped up in the pocket, had a chance to hit the corner route, but because of this rain, he decided, you know what, I'm not going to take the chance on the run making that throw.
This one outside and incomplete. Duke Johnson out of the backfield, and the ball will go over to the Pittsburgh Steelers in the oncoming punt.
That's one of Tyrod's problems. He struggles versus man-to-man. He's one of the best quarterbacks versus zone coverage. He struggled against tight man-to-man.
Is that a trust in the receivers?
That and just his accuracy.
This is Ryan Switzer. Switzer at the 27 or the 28-yard line, getting a couple of blocks up toward midfield, and that's where he goes down. Good return from Ryan Switzer. Derek Kindred making the stop. This is opening day, opening Sunday of the 2018 NFL season. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Each team has had 2 possessions. Each team has punted twice. You see the Steelers story. Not very much time of possession. But they start here at midfield.
You know, anytime you get the ball at midfield, you're expected to score points. And that's what the field position battle is all about.
Looks like the Browns are coming out man-to-man coverage, press on both sides, both wide receivers, safety in the middle of the field. Ben's checking a play here. He may be looking to take advantage of it.
Safety is 20 yards off the line of scrimmage. Down the sideline. Incomplete. Intended for Justin Hunter. Covered by the rookie, Denzel Ward, the first-round draft pick of the Browns out of Ohio State.
Talking to Randy Fichtner, this was a matchup they were looking. Justin Hunter's their go-downtown guy. The safety's going to cheat to Antonio Brown all day in single coverage, so he's got to have a big game.
Well, and that's exactly what you did. You saw the safety cheating to the bottom of the screen where Antonio Brown was lined up, and they decided to go after the rookie, and Ben just overthrew it a little bit.
5-1.
The guy's way off Antonio. This ball could come out quick.
Hey, Lenny.
Roethlisberger sideline and incomplete, a little bit behind Hunter, and it'll be 3rd and 10. Trent, we saw a season ago the Cleveland Browns playing their secondary, their safeties, really, really deep against the Steelers. And here we see a safety 20 yards off the line of scrimmage.
Well, and the big difference, and Greg Williams told us that was going to be the case. A year ago, they had 2 safeties and a 2-deep coverage, 25 yards off the ball. This year, they've gone. Now, this play, they've got it because it's 3rd and long. They've got 2 deep safeties. But 1st and 2nd down, they had 1 safety in the middle of the field deep. That's the difference. He trusts those underneath defenders now.
All kinds of movement up front. Ben points to the Browns. The Browns point to the Steelers. And Hugh Jackson is not pleased.
Neutral zone infraction. Defense number 95. 5-yard penalty. Remains 3rd down.
Myles Garrett charged with the neutral zone infraction.
Again, penalties being a big part early, especially for the Browns.
So it's 3rd and 5. Antonio Brown at the bottom of your screen, number 84. Going to go far side of the field. It is caught inside the 25, down close to the 20, inside the 20. Juju Smith-Schuster for 1st down.
Schuster's lined up in the slot. It's just going to be an outside release fade, and Ben takes advantage of the man-to-man coverage.
Yeah, they're going to stay in this joker package with Ryan Switzer coming in the game, using their tight end as a blocker. Basically, it's a 4 wide receiver set with the tight end playing running back.
You mentioned earlier the way the safety, when they're in a single safety high, how they favor the side of Antonio Brown. That's what happened that time. That's what allowed the lane for Smith-Schuster to get down that sideline.
27-yard pickup on the play, 1st down. Roethlisberger pulls it down, looking, throws. Intercepted at the 10-yard line by Denzel Ward.
Tremendous play by the rookie Ward. He's got the flat receiver. He stays, but he sees Ben's eyes drift to the inside, so he leaves his receiver, comes to the inside, and gets the interception.
Cleveland's first red zone takeaway since November of 2016.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM. And by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing.
It's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame here in downtown Cleveland, where some people like to spend a lot of time.
You not being one of them.
Let's go back to the interception by Denzel Ward.
Yeah, talking to Randy Fichtner Saturday, they talked to the offensive coordinator. They talked about having this package with Ryan Switzer and Antonio Brown on the same side, getting the perfect look. Ben forced this, but it's important for Ben to get a ball to Antonio early in this game because he knows he needs him in the game. I think that was a force all the way.
Well, and Ward read his eyes. He did an excellent job of coming off of his receiver and getting that interception. As you said, I think Ben locked in on him. And what I want to see now from the Browns is here we've had 10 pass plays called. 5 of them, he's 1 of 5 in terms of pass attempts. He's had 3 where he's had to take off and run. He's been sacked once. Only 1 running call in the first 10 plays.
Josh Gordon on the field for the first time today at the top of the screen, but the give is to Carlos Hyde. And T.J. Watt makes the stop. Josh Gordon missed 10 games back in the 2014 season. He missed all of 2015, all of 2016, and missed the first 11 games of 2017 because of his drug-related issues. Coming back determined to be a better citizen and a better football player. Hyde.
Again, trying to establish the run here. They got the big package back in there, trying to pound it, but Steelers' defensive line is holding up really well right now.
Well, that's why when this drive started, I would be interested to see what Todd Haley was going to do coming out from his own 10-yard line. He'd only had 1 called run. Of course, Tyrod Taylor had several scrambles, but first 2 plays, running plays, now Pittsburgh was ready for it. Now they've got a 3rd and 7, 3rd and 6.
Hey, he's down. Hey, tight Lizard. No, we're good.
They need the 20-yard line for a first down. Taylor going to give it to Duke Johnson. Johnson will get the first down and more as he crosses the 25 and he's out of bounds at about the 26 or 27-yard line. 13 yards.
Well, Coach talked to us early in this game about Duke Johnson, his ability to catch the ball coming out of the backfield, but he's just going to come this way, get the handoff, and watch the way all these guys get pinned inside. Johnson is going to have that vision. He comes in, just a quick draw. Whoop, let me see. Nobody's out here. I'm going to take off, and it's a foot race with T.J. Watt to get to that first down marker, and Duke Johnson wins it.
That's that tackling in space we talked about, too, right there.
New set of downs. Carlos Hyde. Not much up the middle. First update of the season for us to New York. JB, Boomer Esiason.
Hey, Greg, rules enforcement.
We have our first illegal use of the helmet penalty, guys. It comes by way of Sean Williams, the safety of the Cincinnati Bengals. He was ejected or disqualified, as they like to say, of the game. Game is tied 3-3.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys, thank you.
180. What do you do that?
Movement. Let's see who gets called. It's going to be the Browns.
Strong start. Offense number 69.
And that's the rookie Desmond Harrison.
Yeah, I was wondering why he'd be pointing at the defensive lineman. He's the guy that moved. And again, Tyrod trying to use the hard count, and the youngster jumped. Always on those blindside play action passes. You know he's going to jump.
Exactly. I love when they jump and then they immediately point to the other guy, right?
That's the third false start of the young afternoon for the Browns. Taylor sets up the screen. Carlos Hyde. Hyde turns the corner and is out of bounds at about the 25 or the 26. Let's go down to Melanie.
Well, Greg, Joe Thomas said this week that Desmond Harrison is so talented. If he can just learn how to be a pro in terms of what it takes in the film room, etc., he'll be better than I ever was.
Boy, for so long in this city, you could start your offensive line by just saying, okay, we got Joe Thomas at left tackle.
And the best in the business. It's amazing he didn't get the credit he deserved because they didn't win enough games.
Well, just his durability. Consider a consecutive number of snaps that he had throughout his career.
3rd and 10.
Steelers had a lot of confusion lining up on the last couple of snaps.
Taylor had it tipped at the line of scrimmage and it falls incomplete. So that'll bring the punting unit on.
Well, tremendous pressure from the Steelers, only rushing 4, dropping 7 into coverage, and those 4 guys collapse that pocket. There's nowhere for Tyrod Taylor to escape to, and of course there's no throwing lane as Bud Dupree gets that arm up and tips the ball away.
Big play a year ago was a blocked punt that Pittsburgh turned into a touchdown. This one is kicked away. Switzer backing up to his own 20. Penalty markers down, up the sideline, and he's out of bounds across the 40-yard line, and we'll check yet another flag.
There's 2 fouls on the play, both on the return team. Holding, number 45. That penalty's declined. Holding, number 88, 10-yard penalty, first down.
So the penalty against Roosevelt Nix is declined. The penalty against Darius Hayward-Bay is accepted.
Yeah, again, that's one thing you never want to do is lose these 10. They lost 25 yards here in field position just because guys using bad technique.
Well, and the reason you take the second hold is because Darius Hayward-Bay, his hold was right at the point of the return, whereas the earlier hold was down by the line of scrimmage. So this is going to move it that much closer to the, what do we got, about the 11-yard line, 11, 12-yard line that the Steelers have to start from. So in these kinds of conditions, field position plays such a big part.
Yeah, Cleveland's won that battle. Pittsburgh had the ball at the 50 going in. Now they're at the 10 coming out with neither team scoring any points.
So Pittsburgh starts at its own 12-yard line. And we are just under 2 minutes to play here in the first quarter. Connor across the 15 to about the 16-yard line. A reminder for you, Mondays this fall. His name is a legend, but his adventures are just beginning. Don't miss the new Magnum PI. Premieres Monday, September the 24th on CBS. I mentioned that blocked punt that got the Steelers started a year ago on opening day, and going green at the beginning of the show, Trent, you showed that pass to Antonio Brown. Those are the two plays Mike Tomlin says made the difference in a 3-point win.
Well, and especially, transfer it to this year with these weather conditions, it's going to be 1 or 2 plays. We don't know which 1 or 2 plays, but it's going to be a difference maker in today. It always comes down to a couple plays, Coach.
Oh, there's no doubt. And when you get 2 backs in the backfield, you saw Greg Williams. He blitzed the corner right there on the weak side to blow up the weak side run. Safety's coming down. They can pick that up. Ben's going over the top to Antonio Brown soon.
Greg Williams in his second season as defensive coordinator for these Cleveland Browns.
Well, and I think the important thing to piggyback your comment, Coach, is to make sure you disguise it. If you show it too early, Ben Roethlisberger is going to see it. Don't give away clues, because with a veteran quarterback like Ben, he's going to be able to find it and dissect it.
3rd and 2. Roethlisberger looking left, now looking right, and on the move, and throws to the sideline, and he's got his man. Midfield, Jesse James, the tight end.
The unscripted play, that's what he does best, better than anybody in football. Maybe Aaron Rodgers can compare to him, but when he gets out and starts moving around and you don't contain him, he's going to kill you.
He's just going to buy time in here, and he just keeps moving around and weaving his way through. It's going to be up the sideline here where Ben eventually finds an open receiver. There was some question we heard from Mike Tomlin, the amount of weight that Ben Roethlisberger lost. Is he going to lose this effectiveness to be able to extend plays because he was always able to rip through those arm tackles? As we could see from that play, it's still in his in his arsenal.
He hasn't lost any strength, just a couple pounds. He looks great, but he's still got that. And he stiff arms as good as any quarterback that's ever played.
Being helped off the field is defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah, number 90. He missed the last 6 games of the 2017 season with a broken foot.
And going into the game, the Cleveland Browns, they had to handle the unscripted play. You had it in Going for Green. That was the same thing that happened to him last year. It's after the good play's over, and then what he makes out of it is unbelievable.
Line of scrimmage, the 43. First down, Pittsburgh. 8 seconds remaining here in the first quarter.
I'm going to take the quarter, hold on to it. Just hold, Pouncey. Just hold.
And first quarter expires. We've played 1 here in Cleveland, and we're scoreless. Back to First Energy Stadium with more after this. Greg Gumbel, Trent Green, Bruce Arians, Melanie Collins back in Cleveland. As you look at the first quarter numbers, the Browns running it better, the Steelers throwing it much better. Steelers averaging 6.9 yards a play compared to Cleveland's 2.7 as we start the second quarter.
Yeah, the biggest play in that first quarter was that interception. That was a scoring drive stalled because of interception.
Roethlisberger running out of time, hit from behind, and he goes down. Myles Garrett.
Well, you can see the excitement for Myles Garrett. This is a long time coming. He's talked about since he was drafted, wanting to sack Ben Roethlisberger. He's coming off of the top side there against Alejandro Villanueva, and Villanueva does a good job pushing him. It's just Ben doesn't get rid of the ball as he steps up in the pocket. Myles Garrett just continues his motor and is able to bring him down from behind. Ben's lucky to hang on to that football.
Yeah, he had his Superman cape on. He's going to try to make something out of nothing, and sometimes he takes those hits.
Myles Garrett, the number 1 pick overall in 2017. 2nd and 13. This is Switzer, and Switzer to about the 40. Let's go down to Melanie.
Well, Greg, just an update on defensive end Emmanuel Ogbah. You went into the medical tent where the head athletic trainer was working on his left ankle. He had it retaped. His helmet is back in his hand, and he's good to go.
All right, Melanie, thank you. Meanwhile, number 50, Chris Smith, in his 5th season out of Arkansas, has replaced Ogbah until he returns to the lineup. It is 3rd and 7.
5-3. Just really sorted.
Ben on the move, gonna run for it. 35, 30, 25, and out of bounds for a first down.
I'll tell you what, losing that weight, he looks faster, Coach.
That's as fast as I've ever seen him run. But that was great. Again, they had safety cheating over. He wanted Antonio Brown on that post, and they could not get to him because that safety cheating over him. Heck of a play. Good block there, too.
You know, Mike Tomlin was pretty powerful last night in talking about not just this matchup, but any matchup. And he says, I always feel better because number 7 is on our side.
There's no doubt, especially in weather.
First down, Pittsburgh. Just inside the 25. The quick pass, that's complete. Inside the 15 to the 11, Jesse James.
A little RPO in their offense. Good job here. Great play action pass. Saw the tight end backside wide ass open and got it to him.
Well, and Ben's reading that outside linebacker. The pressure, and Myles Garrett comes off the edge. That's why he pulls it. But then there's a blitz from the secondary. That's what all of a sudden opens up Jesse James. Got to remember, a year ago, Jesse James had 2 touchdowns against the Browns, and that was a big difference in that ballgame.
He has been their big red zone target all last year, and he will be again this year.
First and 10, just outside the 10-yard line. Quick pass, Antonio Brown. Brown inside the 10. That'll be about a 2-yard pickup.
I tell you what, Coach. I thought that was going to be a handoff. I think Ben read that slot pressure, the blitz coming off of the slot, and then he decided to pull it and make the quick throw.
Yeah, that is RPO all the way, run pass option, and the defender blitzed to blow up the run, take the pass, and he's one of the best that's ever been at that. And you know, he is so big and strong. His hand grip pressure is why he's so good in the weather.
Well, and he's played in the weather his whole life. This is nothing new for him, playing in a little rain, right?
Leo.
Second and 7, and Ben wants a timeout. And he will get one with 11:31 to play here in the first half. We're going to be back in half a minute after this from Progressive Insurance. Mike Tomlin's guys in the red zone. Second and 7.
Antonio Brown down here at the bottom of the screen, 1-on-1.
Little short pass, incomplete. Boy, Ben bent over, tried to thread that one through arms and legs.
Yeah, that's a little quick screen to James. He's supposed to hit that defensive end to slow him down and spin off of him. He just kind of got too quick and too anxious, and Ben had nowhere to throw the ball.
Emmanuel Ogbah back into the lineup.
The Steelers have always liked the inside screens in the red zone, especially versus 2 high shells.
Well, did you see the way the Browns reacted to Antonio Brown? The safety ran over there, and the underneath slot coverage buzzed out underneath, so they had 3 guys covering 1 guy. That's creating a lane somewhere else.
Yeah, they had the perfect play called.
This is an 80-yard drive for the Steelers. If they're looking at a 3rd and 7, they can get a first down without getting a touchdown. Pulls it down a couple of times, looking, stumbling out of the pocket, still looking, throwing, nobody there, incomplete.
Well, that was a big hit. Myles Garrett on Ben Roethlisberger, but he's going to get called a penalty, roughing the quarterback.
Personal foul, roughing the passer, defense number 95. After distance penalty to the goal, automatic first down.
Instead of forcing the Steelers into a field goal attempt, now they're going to get 1st and goal.
Yeah, that's one of the new rules. Taking your body weight and landing on top of the quarterback. And he just got a little bit too over-aggressive here. He's got to let him go and turn to the side.
That's exactly right, Coach, because you look, he didn't take extra steps to get to him. He hit him in the proper amount of time, but it was that body weight landing on top of the quarterback. That's the new rule they put in this year, trying to prevent injuries to the quarterback, and you can see Myles Garrett landed right on top of him.
The end result is a 1st and goal for the Steelers. At the 4. Connor to the end zone for his first NFL touchdown.
Great blocking up front. Connor with the vision. He's just going to get this ball, and there's going to be a lane right in here.
Great job by
Easy
Ramon
walking.
Foster on the big pull and kicked out the defensive end. You know, they showed the cross motion, so Ben knew the coverage, and he knew he had his hole wide open.
Extra point is up and good. So the roughing the passer penalty hurts the Browns. The Steelers draw first blood. 7-0 Pittsburgh. James Conner just authored his first NFL touchdown to wrap up a 10-play, 88-yard drive that has the Steelers on top by a score of 7-0. What an interesting young man. We'll tell you more about him in a second. Jabril Peppers and T.J. Carey are deep for the kick. And let's see if they run this one out of the end zone. They will not. Peppers will take a knee. Back to Mr. Conner, who, by the way, everybody around the league cheers this young man. 2014 season at Pitt, he was the ACC Player of the Year. In November of the following year, diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma. Then in May of 2016, they said, you're good to go, cancer-free. First team All-ACC during 2016 year at Pitt, and drafted by the Steelers in the third round 2017, making his first NFL start today. And Mike Tomlin said he was one of those guys you just see hanging around all the time.
Yeah, he's one of the guys you pull for all the time. You know, the Pitt players and the Steelers share the same locker room and practice fields.
Carlos Hyde. And the Steeler defense strings it out and runs him out of bounds.
Carlos Hyde, I thought was going to be a great addition. So far, he hasn't been able to get off much in the running game. He's also a heck of a pass receiver. They were working a lot of screens the other day, so.
Well, that's the thing with Carlos Hyde, and you talk about with this Pittsburgh defense. I think he's going to. You need to attack the middle of this. You need to attack the inside the numbers. That time stretching it to the outside, that just falls right into the hands of the Steelers and their speed and the way they react to the ball.
Hyde lost a yard at 2nd and 11, and Taylor going to go deep down the sideline. Has a man open who comes back for it. Did he make the catch? Jarvis Landry did.
Well, it's just a matter of time before he got in the game plan, that's for sure. They had rolled the safeties over to Josh Gordon. Tyrod saw it, and a heck of a catch by Jarvis Landry. What a playmaker.
Incredible catch, especially in these conditions. He's matched up on Joe Hayden. Joe Hayden susceptible to the double move. That time just a wheel route, a little out and up by Jarvis Landry. Gets Hayden hesitating, thinking it's going to be an out route, and then ends up Jarvis Landry gets behind him. Ball underthrown. He's able to come back and make a great catch. 33-yard pickup, and Taylor has to throw that one away under pressure. Stephon Tuitt in on the quarterback. The fans would like give us a little love too, but it's not going to happen. Well, it's a big difference right there. Tuitt did take him to the ground, but he didn't land on top of him. And with the new rule, that's actually the way if you're going to do it. Throw him away from you. Don't land on top of him.
Turn your body. Don't land on the quarterback. Excellent technique.
You know, Trent is saying this from the point of view of where was this when I was playing.
Indeed.
There's a lot of rules now that I'm like, where were these when I was playing? That's right.
On 2nd down, Taylor under pressure again and brought down at about the 42 by Cameron Hayward.
Steelers doing a better job now of staying disciplined in their pass rush and waiting for him to start up inside those lanes and making it, especially Cam Hayward. He's a great pro.
Well, it's interesting. Tuitt and Hayward, those are the two guys that Tyrod Taylor said, what two guys or what guys on defense do you need to be aware of at all times? He said, hey, 97, 91, you better know where they are. Who's made the last two defensive plays?
3rd and 9 now. Rain continues to fall steadily. Taylor, good time, throwing, intercepted. Picked off by Sean Davis. And we have a penalty marker down inside the 25. Cleveland fans might like this one.
Well, defensive coordinator Keith Butler for the Steelers decides to bring pressure and go man-to-man.
During the pass, holding, defense number 34. 5-yard penalty results in an automatic first down.
That's a really tough matchup, trying to handle Jarvis Landry. When they said we're playing man-to-man, they're going to bring a 5-man pressure with a spy. He's got to handle him one-on-one.
The penalty is on Terrell Edmonds, the rookie out of Virginia Tech.
Yeah, the rookie first-rounder out of Virginia Tech. He's got the task of covering Jarvis Landry one-on-one. That's a tough task. See him reach his hands around and grab him on the waist.
So a new set of downs from the 37.
180.
High. Inside the 35 to about the 32.
They're starting to get a little movement up front now. That play, I think that play by Jarvis Landry. And they brought him here for his passion and energy, the things that he brings to the offense and the whole team, his toughness, and I think that excited everybody.
Nick Chubb making his first appearance. The rookie, second-round draft pick out of Georgia, number 24 in the backfield, on 2nd and 5.
180.
And they'll put him right to work, and he doesn't get much. John Bostic, number 51, breaking up that play just as it got started.
You have to start beginning to think about this from a play call standpoint. Are you going to get 2 downs to get the first down, or do you feel comfortable in these conditions trying to attempt a long field goal? So that affects what play you call on 3rd down, knowing if you're going to get another crack out on a 4th down.
No doubt. This is definitely 2-down territory.
Duke Johnson in the backfield.
You got Gordon one-on-one at the bottom here.
Little shovel pass, and that goes nowhere. And here's a flag from the near side.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, offense number 12. It's a dead ball foul, will be enforced from the end of the run. Play counts, 4th down.
That penalty is on Josh Gordon. Unnecessary roughness on an offensive player is a little unusual.
It is a little unusual. The thing I was looking at is the tackle by T.J. Watt, trying to decide if that was a targeting. That was a hard hit. So this is where the penalty happens, but
is that unnecessary roughness?
Maybe holding.
4th and 20. Switzer from the 8. Dodges 3. Caught from behind and goes down at about the 11 or 12 yard line. Denzel Rice making the tackle. 7.5 minutes to play in a low scoring game. 7-0 Steelers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by The Home Depot. More saving, more doing. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Verizon. Now go mix and match family unlimited plans.
Hey, the National Cleveland Style Polka Hall of Fame Museum. Within these walls, you can trace the development of Cleveland Style Polka with origins that began in 1900. Steelers start from the 12. It's where their last drive began. And Roethlisberger going to go deep. That ball is picked off Demarius Randall and brought down by Antonio Brown.
Antonio Brown is who this ball was intended for. He thought he would throw a jump ball down the middle of the field, have one-on-one, and AB usually wins those battles. The problem is Antonio Brown, when he looks back for the ball, he never locates it. He continues on the angle he's going. And as you said, Randall made that adjustment. Great job securing the catch over the shoulder as Roethlisberger threw that ball about 60 yards in the air.
Yeah, he was expecting Antonio to go over top of that safety, not across his face. He let it go, and Antonio broke across his face, and there's the interception. They weren't on the same page.
So just like that, the turnover puts the Browns in business at their own 28-yard line.
180.
Taylor looking to escape trouble. On the move, slides down across the 30 to about the 31-yard line. Tyrod Taylor not hesitant to tuck it and go.
Well, John Bostic brings pressure that time. He blitzes from that inside linebacker position, and he gets up the lane, and all of a sudden something flashes. It gets right in Tyrod Taylor's face. He takes off and is able to pick up some yards.
Yeah, they had Josh Gordon one-on-one, too. I'd like to see him sit in there sometimes and throw these balls.
180.
Taylor throws it, far side, complete. This is Darren Fells, a tight end, and Darren Fells fights his way close to the 45-yard line. And a little extra pushing and shoving. Coach, you were on both sides of this rivalry. We talk to the Browns, they say it's Pittsburgh week. We talk to the Steelers, they go it's Cleveland week. It's special.
It really is. And you talk about two great fan bases. Steelers and the Browns are the two of the best fan bases there are. Darren Fells, a young man that started with us, he's a basketball player in Arizona. Really glad to see him playing well.
Rain continues to fall. In fact, it looks like it's falling a little bit harder. Just under 6 minutes to play here in the first half. Hyde cuts it to the right, across midfield, and down close to a first down. Sean Davis, nice open field tackle.
Excellent job blocking up front by the Browns, and good vision by Hyde as he's able to take this ball. Skips it to the outside, realizes there's pressure coming from the left.
And the whistle blows, flags fly as Taylor looks for the first down.
False start, offense, number 85, 5-yard penalty, main second down.
And Njoku, the tight end, and boy, penalties are starting to kill the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah, discipline. I mean, that's the one word. You want aggressiveness, but you want discipline, aggressiveness. They're just being undisciplined right now.
Well, they're trying to get a quick snap. It was second and less than a yard. They get up to the line of scrimmage in a hurry, try and get a quick snap, catch Steelers off guard, and get the first down, which they had. Problem is the guys move, and now all of a sudden you're 2nd and 6.
That's the 4th false start against the Browns. Taylor escapes one tackler, on the run, has the first down close to the 45-yard line.
He's not afraid to pull it down and run it now, and that was a play that was designed for him to keep it up inside. And you don't want to make a living doing that, Trent, but that's one thing Tyrod gives them. And talking to Mike Tomlin, they were really worried about that option play.
Well, I just know if you're Baker Mayfield, you better stay loose, because as many hits as he's taken here in the first half, you better have yourself ready.
I always said, if you put your quarterback in danger enough, danger's coming.
Give it to Hyde, and Hyde is stacked up on the far side after about a 1-yard pickup. Tyson Alualu, number 94, with the stop.
Well, this is an important drive for the Browns. Well, they're all important, but this is important as we take a look at the first overall pick. Baker Mayfield right there is named the backup coming into this week's game, and it's an important drive. You need to go down and get some points. You got good field position. You're just coming off of a big turnover. You got to go down and try and get some points here before halftime.
Under pressure, he goes down. Jonathan Bostic once again.
Talking to Keith Butler, the defensive coordinator, they had a lot of success last year with their linebackers versus the Browns running backs, whipping them in pass protection. And again, he ran right through him right there.
Well, the problem here is going to be you have a rookie back. He needs to come over here and get this block. Chubb goes to the right as opposed to coming to the left. So he go to the right, you got to try and wrap all the way around the quarterback. You've got to be able to see that. That's just a young guy understanding defenses, understanding protections. That time it cost the Browns.
This is Duke Johnson. And Johnson trying to spit out of trouble. Made it as far as the 46-yard line. And that will bring on the punting unit again.
Yeah, Trent, I'm not a fan of handing the ball off on 3rd and 15. Try to make the first down. You got guys in there that can go make plays for you. Go make a play.
Were you a fan of calling a screen, trying to get guys out in space, or were you more of a fan of trying to throw something up the field?
Duke Johnson is a great screen runner. Get the ball to him quick. Other than a draw, get him out in space. But again, you got Josh Gordon, those guys can go down there in the 18, 20-yard range and make plays for you. Protect it up and go get them.
Britton Colquitt drops this one inside the 10-yard line. And once again, the Steelers will have their backs to the wall when we come back to Cleveland. Just a reminder for you, coming up, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Phil, Nate Boomer, Coach Cowher have scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon Halftime Report. James Conner in the backfield as the Steelers start at their own 9 with 2.5 to play. Pittsburgh with 2 timeouts, Cleveland with all 3, and the quick pass to the outside. Antonio Brown has a first down and runs out of bounds.
Yeah, trying to force him. He's got Antonio one-on-one out there now to start a early 2-minute drive. 2:23, 2 timeouts. They just want to move this ball up to the 20, use their tempo offense now, and get this thing going. When he sees Antonio one-on-one, it's coming.
First down now for Pittsburgh at their own 20. Should be the last play, perhaps before the 2-minute warning. That pass is complete to Conner out of the backfield, and Conner picks up 15 to the 35-yard line. And with that, we get the 2-minute warning at 1:58 on the clock. 7-0 Steelers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AARP. Take on today with AARP Real Possibilities. And by FedEx. Possibilities. What we deliver by delivering.
Just under 2 minutes to play in the first half. Trent, you said that there's a little unexpected bonus for the Steelers at the tail end of that last play.
Well, when you get the ball down the 11-yard line, 2.5 minutes, 2 timeouts, you're just trying to use up the clock. You're trying to find out if you can get some space. You have AB with off coverage. You make a quick throw. He gets a first down. You run a draw. You get a first down. Now, all of a sudden, you've got the 2 timeouts. You can try and go down and get some points as opposed to just trying to get separation.
They're going to run it with Conner up the middle, and Conner's got running room. First down across the 45 to the 47. Clock continues to move, coming up on 1:45.
That's the beauty of having both timeouts. You got your whole playbook. You see 2 deep zone. You're going to run the football. Conner's doing a great job of making guys miss, too. The Cleveland's got to do a better job tackling.
5-3. 5-3. Hey, that's the mic.
They give it to Conner again. And Conner again busted out to the 45 of the Browns. Remember, Pittsburgh with 2 timeouts remaining. Cleveland, all 3 of theirs.
Well, most of the game, the Browns have gone with a single deep safety, played man, and had defenders near the box. Now, all of a sudden, you see this shell. You see the 2 deep shell. You see the defenders getting soft, and that's what's allowing the draw play to be so effective the last 3 times they've handed the ball off to Conner.
Roethlisberger hits his man inside the 40-yard line. Juju Smith-Schuster coming across the middle.
Yeah, they're playing right into Ben's hands. You got the running game. You got the checkdowns, the easy throws. You're looking for 3, but once you get down here, now you're trying to get your touchdown.
Pittsburgh with a timeout. We're back in 30 seconds after this from AARP.
5-1.
Back in Cleveland. 55 seconds on the clock. First down at the Cleveland 37. Roethlisberger sideline. It is bobbled on his way out of bounds. Antonio Brown could not keep possession. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Don't see that very often. Great match. They had to match up. They wanted it on the corner route. They got to work the sideline now. You want to keep that timeout for the field goal. Once you get down here, you do not want to burn this timeout.
Well, in this much amount of time, you can still work the middle of the field. You're close enough to the Browns' end zone where you can run up and get a spike and not have to burn that timeout.
Yes, indeed.
Roethlisberger 10 of 18 throwing so far today. On 2nd and 10, quick pass, bouncing, intercepted, picked off by Denzel Ward. Across midfield and down at the Pittsburgh 45-yard line.
Ben sees something before the snap, and he decides to switch. Juju Smith-Schuster and Jesse James switches the 2 spots. Then all of a sudden it goes up here, and he's trying to get the quick throw. He sees the hot that's coming. It just goes right through Jesse James' hands for the interception. James with the hustle though on the return to come back down and make that tackle.
Yeah, you got to make that catch. Ben saw it, pointed it out. Sam, Mike came, and they're hot. Boy, that's just basic football. You got to make that catch.
3rd interception of Ben Roethlisberger so far this afternoon. 2nd for the rookie Ward. And Duke Johnson going to go nowhere as Bud Dupree crashed the party in the backfield. So Cleveland uses a timeout, stops the clock with 37 seconds to play. Coming up, the Verizon halftime report. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher, those dancing crazies back in the studio. For all the latest scores and highlights coming up on the Verizon halftime report. You know, we're talking about what an impact T.J. Watt made a year ago as a rookie. How about what Denzel Ward's doing today?
It's been impressive. You know, these conditions, you have to be ready. First one, he read Ben's eyes and got the pick. That time just in a good position for the tip ball.
Ball hit just as he was throwing. See what the ruling is. Bud Dupree was in. So the Browns covered it. Clock continues to move.
Petonio is able to get on that loose ball. I think the Browns are just going to go to halftime after the interception and two negative plays in a row.
Morgan Burnett ran right over the running back again and got that pressure.
So they will let the clock expire here in the first half.
A little conservative end there for Cleveland. Got great field position and really got nothing out of it after that great turnover.
Not much offensively at all to speak of for the Cleveland Browns in the first half. Defense allowed a single touchdown. We come to the end of the first half on opening day here in Cleveland. Pittsburgh 7, the Browns nothing. Halftime is next after these first half highlights from Verizon and a word from your local station. Back for the start of the second half in Cleveland. Let's take a look at the first half highlight presented by DirecTV. Ben Roethlisberger's thrown 3 interceptions in the first half, but James Conner has the Steelers on the board with his first ever NFL touchdown. It is 7-0 Pittsburgh over the Browns. And Coach, I got to ask you, if you're Hugh Jackson, the head coach of the Cleveland Browns, how do you jumpstart this offense?
Well, you got to get your playmakers involved. You know, Duke Johnson, Jarvis Landry, those guys are not getting enough touches. Josh Gordon, I don't know if he's been targeted yet. And let Tyrod Taylor throw the football. I mean, you don't want him being your leading rusher.
Well, and I think that's important for Cleveland to do. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, I think it's just about not turning the ball over. Ben Roethlisberger, 2 of those interceptions, he was trying to force the ball to Antonio Brown. So get the run game going with James Conner. I like to see him continue to run the ball, and then also just be protective of the football.
It is 7-0 Pittsburgh. The rain continues to fall. No one knows that better than Melanie Collins downstairs. Melanie.
Thank you, Greg. Well, I spoke with Hugh Jackson first. He said, you know, our defense is keeping us in this one. In terms of our offense, we just have to execute. It's not even a matter of the conditions on the field right now. He said, we definitely need to address the penalties and be more disciplined in the second half. And then I spoke to Mike Tomlin. He said, we've got to do a better job of taking care of the football. Our defense is bailing us out. Guys, back up to you.
All right, Melanie, thank you. And a penalty marker flies on the kickoff return by Jabril Peppers. And it's going to be against the Browns. Well, there's a second half correction that needs to be made.
During the return, illegal block in the back. Return team number 37. 10-yard penalty, first down.
You start the second half with a great return, and then you lose 10, 15 yards just in field position alone, just from undisciplined football.
Well, that was a problem for the Browns first half. They had the 7 penalties, and some of those very crucial.
So the Browns will start at their own 14-yard line. 8 penalties for 54 yards for the Cleveland Browns. And Taylor to throw. Under pressure, and he goes down at about the 3. And out of the pack comes T.J. Watt. That's the 4th time that Taylor has been sacked.
Well, when you consider that's 2 negative things. Now you had the kickoff return, but you had the penalty to move it back. And now you try and throw it on first down, and big hit that Tyrod Taylor takes as Fells is attempting to block T.J. Watt.
Attempting was a good way to put that.
Yeah, that's a bad matchup. Darren Fells blocking T.J. Watt. They tried to put the double move to Josh Gordon.
It's a Pittsburgh team that led the NFL in sacks last season. This is Hyde. And we get flags. Here's Sean Smith.
During the run, holding defense number 79. 5-yard penalty from the end of the run, automatic, first down.
Javon Hargrave, the nose tackle, guilty of the penalty.
Right here, Hargrave, he's going to reach out with this left arm, and he's not going to allow the block to take place. Anytime the official from the back throws the flag that far, a lot of time he's looking, his responsibility on those plays is to try and catch a defensive lineman holding, which why they want to hold is they want to free up those linebackers like the Steelers just did. It freed up the linebacker to go up and make the tackle.
Yeah, you got to keep them off your linebackers, but you can't horse collar them.
180. What is that?
On first down, this is Hyde trying the left side. And crosses, and we have a little scrap on the far side of the field.
Well, I think that's
25 is Artie Burns.
Well, I think that's going to be a double penalty on Artie Burns. Number one, he takes Jarvis Landry to the ground well after the play was over. And then the second thing he does is he rips his helmet off, so it's another 15 yards for that.
And that's Jarvis Landry. That's what he brings. He brings passion and energy. He is blocking downfield hard, and he didn't like it.
That's a good clean block right there, and Burns takes exception to it. Now watch him flip his helmet off, so that's the second penalty.
Mike Tomlin told us exactly that, Coach, that Jarvis Landry brings attitude to the Cleveland Browns.
That is why he's in that Browns uniform. He brings an attitude like a Hines Ward did the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So you can see immediately the block was a good block. The problem was, and what Burns got upset with, is Landry kept hanging on to him. So that's where you get a little irritated. Okay, you got me on that, but just let go of me.
Yeah, he didn't like the pancake. He didn't like the pancake at all.
And that's the part that Landry brings. He wants to push the button.
Play, both against the defense. Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, defense number 25. That penalty's declined, unsportsmanlike. Defense number 25 for removing his helmet. That is number 25's first unsportsmanlike. First foul towards disqualification. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic first down.
Yeah, he's got to be careful now. That's his first unsportsmanlike. He can get injected after the second time. And he's a volatile old young guy. I mean, he can lose it like that. And Jarvis Landry will bring it to him again. I promise you that.
Well, can we have a snap here in the second half without a penalty? So you had the kickoff return that they moved back on penalty. Then we had the sack. Then you had the penalty on the Steelers, which gave the first down to the Browns and moved them out. Now we get another penalty. A lot going on here at the start of the second half.
Yeah, you know these two teams don't like each other, but you got to be smarter in this situation.
So Cameron Sutton, number 20, has replaced Artie Burns at corner in the Steelers secondary. Carlos Hyde. Hyde busting through and diving to the 40, about a yard short of a first down. Joe Hayden making the stop.
Yeah, the Steelers immediately went to a cover 2 shell, and they ran the football against 7-man box because they were worried about that corner out there by himself after Artie getting almost ejected from the game.
Artie Burns is back on the field. You see him at the top of your screen, number 25.
3 down. Hey, push. All right.
You got Gordon matched up with Burns at the top of the screen with safety in the middle of the field. Let's see if they take advantage.
We're going to give it to Hyde again. Hyde has the first down and more. Midfield and out of bounds close to the Pittsburgh 45. In case you haven't noticed, this rivalry has developed even more of an attitude.
Well, I think there was something said by Hugh Jackson at halftime as we see the run to the right. Watch the seal block on the outside. Gives Hyde the opportunity to get one-on-one. It seems to me that Hugh Jackson had to have said something to these guys at halftime. They're coming out with a different attitude. Not that they didn't have a good attitude in the first half, but you can see they got a little bit more bounce in their step, a little bit more irritability.
They want to be physical, and Jarvis starts it.
Carlos Hyde has come out rolling. Hyde again.
And this is
about the 43.
This is one of those guys that he gets better as the game goes on and the more touches he gets. He's a 3-down back, but you start pounding him, he starts feeling it. Hate to see him take him out of the game right here.
Pickup of 6 makes it 2nd and 4.
Let's see if they finally take that shot up the field. Got Gordon one-on-one here at the bottom of the screen.
This is Nick Chubb, the rookie. That's a first down at the 37.
I'm going to keep saying it, Coach, because at some point in time, you have Josh Gordon one-on-one, safety middle of the field, and that many guys in the box. You've got to give him a chance up the field.
Oh, you just got to throw it up. He's so big and tall. He's going to make a play for you.
Now, the Browns are doing a great job running the ball. I'm not going to take anything away from that, but when you get an opportunity, I get a little greedy up here, Coach.
They're trying to establish their identity, and they want to be a physical football team.
Chubb still in the backfield. Chubb with the handoff. Picks his way through to the 30, 25, 20-yard line and bounced out of bounds. Nick Chubb, the second-round draft pick out of Georgia.
Again, missed tackles. We talked about it in the open. You got to tackle in space. 1 tackle, 2 tackles, 3 tackles. That's how you get 10, 15-yard runs. You got to stop them. Now Duke Johnson's back there.
Johnson replaces Chubb. First down. This is Johnson. And he just gets to the 20-yard line.
You know, I think the Cleveland Browns have one of the best running back groups in the whole league. They can do everything. Duke Johnson's a speed guy. Carlos Hyde is a guy who can do everything. And then Nick Chubb, a young guy. I don't like a running back by committee, but they have 3 good ones to put in there.
And they all do something a little bit different, and that's what's going to make the combination of, as you said, a lot of teams don't like it, a lot of coaches don't like it, moving them around, but these guys all present a different problem for a defense.
56 rushing yards on this drive by the Cleveland Browns, and Taylor to throw now. Pulls it down twice, and he's on the move. Gonna run it. First down to the 5, to the end zone. Is he in? I have not seen a touchdown call yet by the officials. But it looks like it is a touchdown.
Well, you talk about trying to set an attitude and try and set a precedent. Tyrod Taylor, a lot of quarterbacks in this league will step out of bounds after they get the first down, or if they see that confrontation coming up, they're going to step out of bounds and let the big boys do it from the 2-yard line in. Instead, he lowers his shoulder, attempts to get it in. It's Artie Burns, it looks like he's going up against right there at the 1-yard line. Tyrod Taylor goes over the top and is able to break the plane for the touchdown.
Landed in the near corner of the end zone.
Yeah, that's that attitude he and Jarvis Landry bring. Toughness.
For the tie. The Gonzalez kick is good. 20-yard touchdown run by Tyrod Taylor caps a 76-yard drive, and the Browns pull even with Pittsburgh at 7. An 86-yard drive, the last 20, courtesy of quarterback Tyrod Taylor. And the Browns have tied the Steelers at 7.
What a heck of a game so far with his legs. You know, we talked in the opening about beating him with his arms. He's more right now beating him with his legs. I'd like to see him take a few more shots down the field, but that was one heck of a drive. They set an attitude right there.
Well, it was impressive what Carlos Hyde did. He really got rolling on that drive. He had a couple of big runs, breaking tackles, ripping through some of those arm tackles, just trying to set a tone here for the second half.
Ryan Switzer on the run at the goal line. 20, 25, and wrapped up and brought down at about the 26-yard line by Denzel Rice. 7 carries today for Tyrod Taylor and 53 yards on the ground.
Great job. I mean, this guy has got all the, he's tough. You know, he's running inside runs like running backs. You know he's going to scramble to beat you, but with that option helps Carlos Hyde on those zone reads, which they started to spring there early.
That's just a tough run.
Yes, indeed. He's a tough Hokie.
I knew you were going to get that in there.
53 on the ground, 50 through the air. Connor in the backfield with Roethlisberger. A quick pass, and he's got his man. Juju Smith-Schuster off to the races. And bumped out of bounds inside the 10-yard line. Just like that, the Steelers have turned it around.
Well, you knew they had to answer because the momentum had just shifted all the way to Cleveland. Now the Steelers can get it right back.
Smith-Schuster was in the slot. This was a play they tried getting earlier on third down to Antonio Brown. They had a quick flash fake. They see that the pressure comes from the linebacker. There's a lane there. Earlier in the game, Ben Roethlisberger threw that ball short at the feet of AB. This time, he hit Smith-Schuster right in stride, and with that speed, he's able to get it down inside of the 10 of Cleveland.
They're at the 7-yard line. First and goal. 67-yard pitch and catch. Roethlisberger to Smith-Schuster. This is Connor. Connor inside the 5 to about the 2, and looked a little bit like Le'Veon Bell being patient along the line of scrimmage on that one.
Yeah, really took his time, but his pullers got in front of him that time, and he gets the grimy yards. I mean, he's a tough downhill runner.
Well, and that was one of the things he talked to us about that he learned from Le'Veon Bell last year, sitting behind him and watching. He said the amount of patience that Le'Veon has, it's well documented around the league, how Le'Veon just stops and waits and hesitates for those linemen to set up the blocks, and Connor showed that on that run there.
Second and goal. Connor again, looking for the end zone. Got there, but we got a penalty marker.
During the run, holding, offense, number 53, 10-yard penalty, replay, second down.
That penalty is on the Pro Bowl center, Marquise Pouncey.
Marquise Pouncey right in the middle of your screen. Just gives a bear hug.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't think that's a hold. It looked like the defender was trying to spin out of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's blocking his guy. I mean, that's guy falls down, you get a penalty because that's all you see is the guy fall down.
So it's second and goal from the 12. Roethlisberger with time. Penalty markers again. The pass into the end zone is complete to Justin Hunter, but let's check the flag.
Illegal use of the hands to the face, offense, number 77.
This one is on Marcus Gilbert, the right tackle. Hands to the face is the call.
Gilbert's going to be attempting to block Agba, who's getting up the field. Let's take a look, see if that right arm, or looks like the left hand, gets in the face mask. It actually turns his helmet.
Yeah, that's a good call. Cannot put your hands in there.
It was a quick release, but you could see how it affected and turned his head because of that that hook to the face.
And that's exactly what he was looking for, the turn of the head. That's 2 touchdowns called back already.
Now at the 22-yard line, it's still second and goal for Pittsburgh.
You got Justin Hunter down to bottom one-on-one because the safety's going to cheat again.
Roethlisberger goes the other way to the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown, Antonio Brown.
Nobody does it better than those 2 guys. I mean, that's double coverage. And he just put it where nobody could get it but Antonio Brown. And you know when that ball's in the air, he's coming down with it.
Well, they had the matchup. They had the man-to-man. The safety wasn't going to get over there with the distance that they had to go. Ward is in good position. He gets the right arm in there to try and strip it out. There's a reason why AB's AB. He's able to bring that in.
It's amazing how strong he is with his hands, how strong they are, the catches he makes. Again, great answer by Pittsburgh. After the 2 penalties, they don't blink. They come right back, get the big play for the touchdown. Now they swung the momentum back their way.
Career touchdown catch number 60 for Antonio Brown. The extra point is up, and it is close. Did he make it? He did. They say it is good. 8:24 to play in the third. Antonio Brown pulls it in from Ben Roethlisberger. 14-7 Steelers.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Walmart. Discover more ways to shop at Walmart today. Fidelity Investments. And by Domino's. Order online at Domino's.com.
Nice pictures there. The Steelers recently held Family Fest at Heinz Field as athletes from the Special Olympics got a chance to interact with former and current Pittsburgh Steelers players.
Who can avoid some penalties, Trent? You know what I mean? Cleveland's got to answer here.
From the 3-yard line, it's T.J. Carey. And Carey going to get met and dropped, and here comes a penalty marker.
Pittsburgh went with a short kick, made him return it. Got exactly what they wanted, a short return and a penalty.
Well, and I think Cleveland, as we take a listen to what the penalty is here.
During the return, illegal block in the back, return team number 82. Half the distance penalty, first down.
Orson Charles guilty of the penalty, and this is going to back the Browns up to about the 7-yard line.
I think the Browns are going to stick with the formula they used on that last drive. I think they're going to try and run the ball until the Steelers prove that they can stop the run, maintain that physical running style, and when you get a chance to get one-on-one, take that shot when you get a chance.
Taylor to throw. At his goal line, lots of time now on the move, and the quick pass is complete, and out across the 15 is Njoku, the tight end. Cleveland had 68 rushing yards in the first half. They had 76 in that last drive alone, and Njoku slow getting up. They will look at him. We will take a break. 8:06 to play in the third. That's the second-year tight end, David Njoku. Walked off the field, went into the medical tent, and has returned to the sideline.
Hey, push 980.
Second and 2 for the Browns.
180.
Carlos Hyde has the first down as he pushes his way across the 20 to the 21.
You heard Tyrod going alert. They have 2 plays called a run and a pass, and he liked to look for the run, alert it back, got a nice run, got a good 4-yard gain.
Taylor to throw, has time, going deep down the near sideline and complete. Intended for Jarvis Landry, and Joe Hayden had him all the way.
Cleveland's going to a lot of max protection, but the big thing, they keep 2 tight ends. That Steelers have to play their base defense. They're not as fast, and they lose a lot of speed when they have their nickel out there. Mike Tomlin talked a lot about playing nickel to that 2 tight end set, especially when David Njoku was in there, and hopefully they got him back in there now.
So 2nd and 10. Hyde. And is going to lose yardage on this one, back to the 19-yard line. Both Vince Williams and T.J. Watt closing down. And it'll be 3rd and about 12 now.
Well, that time T.J. Watt was going up against Chris Hubbard, who had been with the Steelers for the last 4 years, comes over in free agency to the Cleveland Browns, and T.J. Watt took advantage of that matchup and got in the backfield and able to make that tackle.
Yeah, great penetration.
Cleveland, a grand total of 28 passing yards today. Taylor running out of time, and he goes down again. Once again, T.J. Watt.
This is just a matter of Tyrod Taylor hanging on to the ball. There was the great coverage up the field. T.J. Watt's going to get chip blocked coming off the left edge. He's coming here. He's going to get chip blocked. He's double teamed. But as Tyrod's looking upfield, you're going to see that the coverage standpoint, there's nobody open for him to throw to. They're trying to push the ball up the field, and by the time anybody gets an open space, Watt is already on top of Taylor.
The Steelers did a great job of disguising their 2-man coverage right there.
This is Switzer, and Switzer out of bounds just inside the Cleveland 40-yard line. Good field position for Roethlisberger and the Pittsburgh offense. 6:08 to play here in the third.
Again, great field position for the Steelers. I mean, this is the time of the game they really need to take it over up front.
When you can see on that last series when they went down and scored, that offensive line was fired up, especially after they got those 2 penalties in a row and then been through the touchdown to AB. You could see the reaction of the offensive line. So they've got a little spark in their step. Let's see what they do with it now.
Yeah, they got the big package in there. It's interesting to see if they single Antonio Brown again in this big package.
When you say big package, you got an extra offensive tackle in here with the tight end.
This is Connor. Connor breaking free. Connor to the 25 and down to the 22-yard line. We talked about this earlier, but young Mr. Connor, with all the pressure in the world for him, all you got to do is go out there and replace Le'Veon Bell in the offense.
And he's done a tremendous job. He's doing what they're asking of him. He's using the vision on the zone runs, finding the cutback lane, and hitting the crease.
Running downhill.
And right now, Jabril Peppers just getting off the turf and will trot to the sideline.
You see those 68 yards rushing by James Conner. He's got that on 10 carries, so that means he's averaging nearly 7 yards per rush attempt.
Yeah, and he's not wanting to come out of the game either. He wanted to stay in there and give it to me one more time.
We told you earlier that the biggest thing he had to work on, and it's a big part of the Steeler offense, was coming out of the backfield and catching the ball, and he has worked very, very hard to get better at it.
Well, the 68 yards on the ground and 3 catches for 32 yards, so he's done just that.
5.5 to play in the third. This is Connor again. Connor breaking free. The 5. Touchdown. "22 yards. His second of the day, the second of his career.
They're using Chucky Okorafor as a tight end, and that big guy can really move the pile. He pushed the whole edge back right there, and David DeCastro on the pull, one of the best pullers in the league. Again, great patience, pounded it in there.
Well, just the way they sealed that line, and Connor had the vision. Same thing he's done. He sees the vision, cuts back to the backside in that zone read, and hits the crease. Taking full advantage of this opportunity today. As you said, Greg, 90 yards now on 11 carries. And the second touchdown on the day.
So there were some very upset Pittsburgh Steelers when Le'Veon Bell didn't report on Wednesday. However, as Coach Tomlin said, by Thursday, it's back to work and move on. This makes it a little easier not to be distracted by such a thing.
Oh, there's no doubt. The whole team was excited for James Conner to have this opportunity. They know how hard he's worked.
We have a penalty marker on that extra point.
The try is good and sportsmanlike. Defense leveraging. 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. Timeout.
Yet another penalty marker against the Cleveland Browns. Meanwhile, James Conner, second year out of Pittsburgh, making his mark on opening day.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by AT&T. More for your thing. That's our thing. And by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
5:23 to play in the third. Steelers now off to a 21-7 lead, thanks to the second touchdown of the day by that young man, James Conner.
I think if you're a Steeler fan right now, Greg, you're taking a big sigh of relief. We don't need Le'Veon Bell.
Short kick. Antonio Callaway from inside is 5. And boy, how did that work out for the Pittsburgh Steelers? Brought him down at the 10-yard line.
Well, you can see the Steelers got a little bit more swagger in their step as this game got tied up 7-7. They answered them quick with a couple of touchdowns, and
haven't seen any choreographed kickoff coverage teams before. But
you know, Coach, going back to what you were saying, obviously the Steelers are feeling a little bit better about Le'Veon Bell not being here. How's Le'Veon Bell feeling sitting at home watching this?
Oh, he's probably really happy for James Conner. They're really good friends, really close. They talked about it in the meeting. But you got to think about, what do I want to do? He's the real deal. And everybody in that black and gold knows it.
That pass incomplete. Duke Johnson couldn't keep it off the grass. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, I think it's important if you're Le'Veon Bell. He's staying out for a reason. It's a money standpoint for him. He's put up the numbers the last few years in his career, and looking at this as an opportunity to get paid and try and use it. So I don't think this affects him at all in terms of his decision. He's happy for James Conner. Obviously, the Steelers are happy with the way this is turning out, but Le'Veon Bell is standing firm with his beliefs.
This is Carlos Hyde, and the running game, which had been pretty good since the start of this second half, has now stumbled to a halt. And that's Baker Mayfield.
This is a big third down for the Cleveland Browns. I mean, right now, Pittsburgh's taking the momentum, really taking it to them. They need to convert third down right here. Either throwing it or with Tyrod's legs.
Hey, we're going to 42.
If anything, for the field position. Because if you're punting from here, the Steelers are going to get another shot at great field position.
Taylor has his man wide open, and he's got him at the 40 to midfield and into Pittsburgh territory. Ball is on the ground, and he's going to be ruled down. Jarvis Landry. It's a good thing there's no self-confidence in Jarvis Landry.
Oh, you got to get the football to this young man. He is so passionate, so explosive. He brought him back the first time. Just keep throwing it to him. He's going to make something happen.
Well, you see him holding his ribs there a little bit. I think he landed on the football, and that's why the ball came loose.
And Trent, he fully agreed and admitted to us on Friday he was surprised that he's not still a Miami Dolphin.
Yeah, he was. You consider 400 catches in his first 4 years, which is an NFL record for your first 4 seasons by a lot. So he thought, it was a wake-up call to the business side of football.
We have a timeout on the field taken by the Cleveland Browns. But, yeah, that's as reliable. That's one of the best football players in the league.
Well, and that's why he thought he was secure in Miami. He's like, listen, they wanted production. I gave him production. And he goes, never in his mind did he think that he was going to be going elsewhere. And when they decided that was the direction, it's like, okay, well, you hear about the business side of football. He experienced it firsthand.
3 Pro Bowls
and he left
in his first 4 years.
He left the game for a second, and they had to call timeout because nobody could get lined up.
Right.
Little particulars, that 112 yards catching the best in the National Football League last year. Taylor with time, going deep, down the middle of the field. Incomplete in the end zone. Intended for Josh Gordon, and Joe Hayden fought him all the way.
Really good play. Josh had him beat. Joe kept his poise and patience. Most DBs, if you don't have good hands, you panic. He's a receiver out there. He knows how to play the football and did a great job of not creating pass interference right there.
Well, and I'm fine with that. I like the fact that Tyrod Taylor's throwing the ball to the field. Get your big guy, give him a chance one-on-one up the field.
Yes, indeed. They've been needing this all day.
2nd and 10. Quick pass off the fingertips of Njoku. It'll be 3rd and 10.
Boy, they had a great opportunity. They had the run-pass option, got the backside. Same play that Pittsburgh hit Juju Smith-Schuster on. That was there, and he drops the football.
Well, and they had it perfectly timed with that blitz. So there was a lane there, and just a little bit too far for Njoku to bring in.
Yeah, that was a chance for a big chunk play right there. You got to make those in critical times in this game. You got to make them.
4 down. Hey, we're going 3.
3rd and 10. Cleveland needs the 37-yard line for a first down. Taylor coming to this side of the field, and that is incomplete.
Well, that's Njoku's 2nd drop in a row, and that's – we talked to Tyrod Taylor about the confidence that he has in him, and he said, I have an extreme amount of confidence just because of the matchup problem it creates. That ball hits him right in the hands. That's right where he likes the football. Taylor told us that's where he likes it. He likes it high, likes to jump and go up and get it. You got to come up with that catch.
He's had a history of drops his whole career. He's got so much talent, just doesn't make the big plays when they need it.
Ryan Switzer, fair catch called for and made at about the 15-yard line. So 3:27 to play here in the 3rd. Saturday, the SEC on CBS features the best game from the best conference. 11th ranked LSU takes on number 7 Auburn. Auburn looking to avenge last year's loss after blowing a 20-point lead and keep their 13-game home winning streak alive. The day kicks off with college football today at 3 Eastern on CBS. Mr. and Mrs. Trent Green sprinkling the country with quarterbacks. They have absolutely no interest whatsoever, do they?
I keep track of college football really close, Greg, as you know.
I know. 2 touchdowns in the last 2 drives for the Steelers, and they start deep in their own territory. That's Connor.
That's exactly what they're looking. That was an ugly-looking run. The chains are moving. That's what Pittsburgh wants to do right now. They got the big guy playing tight end. Just keep pounding it behind him.
Oh, what did James Conner tell us? I'd love to carry the ball 65 times.
Yes, he's a workhorse. I mean, he's just going to get better and better as this game goes on.
Well, this is that package you talked about earlier in the game, and they're sticking with it. Okorafor is back in the game, or stayed in the game. This is 2 plays in a row now, having the extra tackle, playing tight end.
Yeah, Mike Tomlin was worried. They worked all week on make sure you report.
Connor to the 20.
I think it was Greg that asked him, "You going to throw him the football?" Mike said, "We just want to make sure he reports every play that he's eligible."
He's looking right now to see if he's coming off, and sure enough, changing personnel here for 3rd down.
I just thought it'd be fun to see a 320-pound tight end grab a little short pass and take off.
Late substitutions for the Steelers. They need to get to moving here. Clock's running.
3rd and 4. Roethlisberger throwing this side of the field, right on the money, complete to Justin Hunter.
That's one of his favorite plays. That out from the stack formation. He's been throwing that his whole career. And most guys would be afraid to throw that ball out there. Trent just puts it on the money.
Yeah, that's the thing. You give him that big of a cushion, and you've only got the down and distance of 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4. That's an easy throw for Ben.
Connor in the backfield, sitting on 96 yards rushing for the day. Looks like he just went over 100 or reached 100, just across the 30-yard line.
Surprisingly to see Cleveland in a 2-deep shell, knowing that Pittsburgh's running the football. Unless they're going to blitz those corners inside to make it a 9-man box.
Right. As soon as I saw the 2-deep safety, I said, well, this is going to be easy for Ben to check to a run. And sure enough, handing off to the right side gives Connor the option to view where the blocking's coming from. If he wants to hit that cutback, he can. That time he keeps it front side and picks up 4.
Same thing here.
With the 2-deep, I think you stay with it.
Yes, indeed.
Connor picks up a couple more. Update time. Let's take you back to New York. JB.
Boomer, who's doing it in Tampa?
This is Ryan Fitzpatrick, 50 yards to Mike Evans. Now, Ryan Fitzpatrick, 17 to 23, 336 yards, 3 touchdown passes. The surprise of the day thus far, they lead New Orleans 41-24, and that game is in New Orleans.
Yes, it is, but in the Tampa uniform. Thank you, Greg Gumbel.
All right, guys. We saw those Tampa Bay Bucks preseason game a couple of weeks ago. Ryan Fitzpatrick does not lack for confidence.
No, and he can throw. He can put up numbers like that. He's shown that throughout his career. He can get hot.
Roethlisberger. Antonio Brown over the middle. Midfield. 1st down, Steelers.
It was only a matter of time. They caught him in the blitz. Got man-to-man.
We come to the end of 3 here in Cleveland. 21-7. Back after this message and a word from your local station. Our producer, Ken Mack, our director, Suzanne Smith, Greg Gumbel, Bruce Arians, Trent Green, Melanie Collins. We start the 4th quarter. 21-7. Steelers. And Ryan Switzer in the backfield as Roethlisberger goes to work. Quick pass to the sideline, incomplete. Let's take a look at Antonio Brown, number 84, after this play. Walks over. He might know this guy.
The former offensive coordinator of the Steelers, Todd Haley, great friend of his.
Well, Antonio Brown put up some big numbers with him calling plays, so I'm sure that hug was sincere.
Yes, indeed.
On 2nd and 10, Connor in the backfield. Connor with the football. And Connor adds to his total for the day as he makes his way out very close to another first down.
One thing I love about him, he's always going forward. When he goes to the ground, he's going forward. He drops the pads and he delivers a blow.
Connor now 15 carries, 16 carries for 111 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's what you want to see in your back. Deliver the blow.
Running with power.
Meanwhile, Cleveland has to find an answer on defense.
This is a situation Ben loves to go deep to Antonio and come back on 4th down.
He's going to keep it and sneak for the first down to the 38.
So many times I've seen him take that shot down the field and then come back with the quarterback sneak.
This is Trevon Coley that he'll be looked at, and we'll take a break. Back in Cleveland, 13:54 to play here in the 4th quarter. And a first down for the Steelers.
I love what offensive coordinator Randy Fichter's been doing. He's been mixing all his personnel groups, looking for the runs, taking easy passes.
Dave, we can't, Dave.
Quick pass on the slant, almost intercepted by the Browns. Jamie Collins. He'll say he should have had it.
Well, Jamie Collins is thinking about touchdown. This is that RPO you talked about, Coach. They see the pressure coming. He got it. Smith-Schuster right behind him, and that time Jamie Collins gets a hand on it, almost comes up with the interception and nearly 6.
Yeah, I think the wet football got him right there. He couldn't get it. He couldn't get enough steam on it.
2nd and 10. Connor. And hit real hard at about the line of scrimmage by Denzel Ward, the rookie.
Well,
it's 3rd and 10.
Well, and it's good to see him pop up. It looked like he got that leg pinned underneath him on the tackle. So excellent response by the Cleveland defense to come up and make that tackle. Not a lot of that has been going on. Connor's been making some big chunks of yardage, but watch on this tackle as he gets pinned underneath.
He got hurt earlier this year on a tackle, and good job there.
On 3rd down, the Steelers started 0 for 2 on 3rd down. Since then, they're 6 for 6.
Mingo.
Connor inside the 35 to about the 34, maybe the 33. But Chris Smith makes the tackle. So let's see what Mike Tomlin opts to do.
Yeah, it looked like they're going to set it up for a 2 downs, but it looks like he's going to punt the football. With the lead and the weather, it's probably the best thing to do right here. Your defense is playing really, really well. Try to pin them down inside the 10.
I think it's different if it's just a 1 score, but because it's 14, you got the 2 touchdown lead. Go ahead and make the Browns work the whole field.
Yes, indeed, no doubt about it.
Will Peppers makes the fair catch at about the 10 or the 11-yard line. 12-11 to play in the 4th. Plenty of time for the Browns if they can find some offense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Universal Pictures Night School, in theaters September 28th. Progressive Insurance, handing off big savings to you. And by Sonic. This is how you Sonic.
Well, as we said at the very top of the day, our Bruce Arians knows a thing or two about both these teams. The Browns offensive coordinator from 01 to 03, and the Steelers offensive coordinator from 07 to 2011 as that pass falls incomplete. The image that I think that will last with me forever, Coach, is when Mike Tomlin walked into the room, took a look at you, and just bent over laughing.
Yeah, it was a great moment. It was great seeing him, and a lot of great memories at both these cities.
Well, how is this, Coach, for you sitting up in the booth? This is a big rivalry game, one you've been on both sidelines for, and now you're up here with Greg.
It's a lot drier, it's a lot nicer, and no pressure. I can't be wrong.
By the way, as a coach, is it fun standing out there when it rains all day?
No, it's terrible.
That pass over the middle is complete. That's Jarvis Landry, and Landry across the 35 to the 36-yard line.
Yeah, they're speeding it up now. They're up tempo. They're trying to get the ball to Jarvis and Josh Gordon and all their weapons, but they got to play fast now.
As we said, Hugh Jackson trying to kickstart his offense. Taylor. Penalty marker flies. Taylor goes down. Cameron Hayward with the tackle, and this looks like it'll be against the Browns.
There's your dynamic duo again, Trent. 97-91. Tuitt and Hayward, man, they are tough inside.
Holding, offense number 7. That penalty decline is over the play. It's 3rd down.
Kevin Zeitler, the right guard, guilty of the penalty.
Yeah, you mentioned the fact that Cleveland was going to more of an up-tempo, not necessarily a 2-minute offense, but more of an up-tempo, no-huddle offense because you have to get something going. And now 3rd and really long here makes that difficult.
Yeah, usually when you're down two scores, the 10-minute mark is when you got to go no huddle, when you got to go up-tempo totally.
Taylor with all kinds of time now throws outside, and that is caught and immediately dropped is Njoku. And some boos starting to come down from the fans who are understandably frustrated about the lack of offense. And what's going to follow the boos, Trent?
Well, the thing that's going to follow is, of course, the question is going to come up about Baker Mayfield. And talking to Hugh Jackson and being around the Browns, this is Tyrod Taylor's team. They're not ready to put Baker Mayfield out there unless they have to put him out there. They believe in Tyrod Taylor and what this offense can be and his presence as a quarterback. And yeah, even though there's frustration here today, I think that we're not going to see Baker Mayfield for a while.
There is Baker Mayfield. He's staying dry. We want to remind you about the State Farm postgame show. JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cower will have scores and highlights all coming up on the State Farm postgame show. Will they be doing any dancing?
There's a good chance.
James Conner. 116 yards and counting. We have a penalty marker down.
Holding, offense number 77. Half distance penalty, replay, 1st down.
Second penalty of the day on Marcus Gilbert. This will back the Steelers up.
That's 19 accepted penalties. There have been more than that. It's just 19 accepted penalties on the day for both teams. The reason I say that is because Coach just threw his hands up in the air when he saw the flag.
Yeah, it just drives me crazy.
Right,
I mean,
right.
I would be ugly faced down there on the sideline on either team right now.
Hey, Mike.
19.
No.
So on 1st down, this is Conner. And Conner nowhere to go and being brought to a stop by Jabril Peppers. Told you at the beginning of the day that Ben Roethlisberger just owns the Browns. And here at First Energy Stadium, Tim Couch, most wins by a quarterback at this stadium. Couch with 8, Anderson with 10. Ben Roethlisberger has 11 wins in this stadium since 1999 when the Browns returned to Cleveland.
Yeah, he's had a debt to be paid to all Ohio teams when they didn't draft him.
2nd and 15. Conner again. Let's check in with Melanie Collins. Melanie.
Greg, just an update on David DeCastro. He was having his right wrist worked on down here on the sideline. He had it taped back up, grabbed his helmet, and went back in. He's good to go.
Melanie, have you just completely ignored the rain from now?
I'm completely soaked down here, Greg.
It has not stopped raining.
5-1.
3rd and 13.
This will be something safe, Trent. Maybe even the tight end screen with the line sliding away from him.
Well, and they're back to the 2 deep safeties. It looks like they're going to go almost like a 2-man.
Well, off this one toward the sideline, intended for Antonio Brown. That's incomplete. And so the Steelers will kick it away.
Well, and that's exactly what they did. They went 2-man. They had a trail technique by the underneath defenders that were all matched up one-on-one. They knew they had help over the top. trying to make that a difficult throw to squeeze in.
So let's talk about what's worked and what hasn't worked for the Cleveland Browns on offense. They've been able to run the ball at times very well. You can't chew the rest of the clock away running the football right now.
No, at this point in time, you're in a 2-minute offense. You're down 14 points. You only got 9 minutes to go, so you got to score twice and you got to score in a hurry. And this punt's going to help.
Yep, short kick.
Oh, and that just hit one of the Cleveland Browns. That just hit one of theirs. It's going to be Pittsburgh's ball right near midfield.
Steelers' Sean Davis came down with the football. Steelers are pointing in their direction. Officials, a couple of them pointing in their direction. They're going to get together and talk about it.
Trainers, doctors, everybody's pointing in that direction.
The ruling on the field is there's no first touching. Therefore, it's Cleveland's ball, first down.
Let's take a look.
I don't know. Way up here in the booth, I saw the ball change direction.
It sure changed direction to me.
I don't know.
Yes, it did.
I know.
Like it hit Nick Chubb right in the head.
I know. I started wearing readers about a year and a half ago, but I know from distance I feel pretty confident with it. So
Mike Tomlin has the challenge flag out, and they're going to look.
And the ruling on the field of the punch not being touched is being challenged. Players under review.
Well, and that was right in front of Mike Tomlin and that entire Steelers sideline.
No one had a better view.
And it could be hard for an official to see that, but it wasn't hard for any Steelers or anybody on the sideline.
You know, I'm watching Chubb flinch, but do you really see something definitive there?
I do.
I do. I think that's obvious, but again, everything goes to New York, and they might not get the view we got.
Well, and I think here's the thing. It doesn't change the rotation of the ball. The ball continues spinning in the same direction. If no official had a view of it, and there isn't a different camera view of like a side view of it hitting it, I think this stays the direction they call it. I think this stays Cleveland ball.
And there's no official in that picture.
Based on the way and what they've explained to us with the replay rules. Remember a year ago how everything was overturned? New York was taking a lot of control of it. This year they're trying to give the officials on the field more control and not overturn as much unless it's definitive. That was explained to us earlier in this offseason. So because there isn't a specific angle that shows the ball hitting,
Other than Nick Chubb flinching when the ball hit him in the head.
I tell you what, as much as I think it hit him, I don't know if there's enough to overturn it and make it go the other way.
Yeah, incidentally, New York is looking at all the views that you are seeing here. Well, one of our favorite all-time officials is now working for us, Gene Steratore back in New York. Gene, have you watched this?
I sure am looking at it, guys, and you've hit the nail right on the head from my view. This football is going end over end, but at no time can we definitively say that football has hit that player's helmet from the angles that I've looked at. At this point, I'm stands with you. That's the way I see it so far.
But just so we're on the same page, Gene, it does appear that it hits him, but you can't go on the fact that you're assuming that it hits him. You have to see something definitively
the key word, guys, and the key word is appear.
Right.
Yeah, it appears it. But is it 100% conclusive? Not from that angle. And the football really doesn't change drastically in its direction.
After review,
let's see what Sean has to say.
On the field stands. Pittsburgh will be charged their first charge timeout.
And you're going to see an irate Steeler bench.
Mike Tomlin can't believe it. Gene Steratore, thank you very much.
Good to have Gene in the booth with us, huh? That's right.
Gene, can you imagine that, me and you?
So 8:42 to play. Cleveland with the football.
Now they got great field position. They're in a hurry-up offense. They got to get one in there quick. They can still run the football, though.
Taylor, incomplete. Short of Duke Johnson. Yeah, had that, and then we have a penalty marker on the near side.
Illegal formation. Offense number 69 was not on the line. Penalties declined, result of play, second down.
Is this just a lack of discipline, Coach?
Well, that's a young player. You know, as a young player put in a tough position, but I mean, it's not. He's probably been warned already to get up on the line. He's trying to sink back for pass protection, and you got to get up there.
As you said, Coach, they always give him a warning out there. They're not just going to call it right out of the gate. And it was just his alignment. He was set up too deep.
Yep.
Taylor on 2nd and 10. Throwing, and it is incomplete. Knocked down by Mike Hilton, intended for Jarvis Landry.
There's Mike Tomlin's favorite player, Mike Hilton. I mean, he's not big, he's quick, but he is a football player, and he bragged about him, just raved about him yesterday in our meetings.
Well, and you mentioned Tyrod Taylor throwing against man-to-man defenses. That ball there needs to be carried more to the sideline so the receiver runs through it. It was falling a little short. You wonder how much the weather is affecting the way the ball's coming out of Tyrod Taylor's hand today.
Under pressure, spins away. Is going to run. 40, 30, 25. First down yardage. No flags on the field, so that run is going to stand.
Well, Bud Dupree has a free hit coming off the edge at Tyrod Taylor. He spins out of it, but watch the peel back block by Harrison.
Yeah, that to me, that's a peel back block going back to your own goal line. That has to be called, especially to the head and neck area.
That's one of those rules they put in a couple years ago, and Steelers were looking for it.
Taylor going for it all, far side of the field. It is incomplete. Looking for number 81, Rashard Higgins, targeted for the first time today. And covered by Cameron Sutton.
There's that one-on-one. Tyrod Taylor liking the matchup over on that side. Throws a jump ball. Higgins tries to climb the ladder. I thought maybe they were going to give him an offensive pass interference. He had a shove in the back, but
yeah,
both players battling.
That never goes both ways. That's only defense. That never goes on the offense.
That's 5 straight incomplete passes thrown by Tyrod Taylor. Under pressure, coming to the near side, incomplete. So, Coach, you're talking to the Cleveland Browns fans. They're expecting more offense than what they've gotten today. What are you telling them the problem is?
Well, mainly the weather, you know, and you're playing a heck of a defense. But this is the first year these guys, new coaching staff, bunch of new guys put together for the first time. They're going to score points. It's just a rough one today. The biggest thing for me is lack of discipline and the penalties. You got to eliminate those things, especially pre-snap penalties.
That one bouncing off a lot of people and hits the ground. Not caught, more boos.
It's hard when you don't get enough time to even throw a screen. You'd like to set your feet and throw the screen, but he can't even set his feet. Bud Foster is just wearing out the left tackle.
Well, and that's the thing. You want to set your feet, right? You're trying to sell the screen. You set your feet, get him to bait, and then you drift. He's not even setting his feet. He's got to drift immediately, and here they go for it on 4th down. Really no choice at this point in time.
7:55 to play. They need the 13-yard line for a first down. Taylor had it popped out of his hand. He re-grabbed it and falls forward to the 28, and there's a penalty marker down, and this is going to go against the Steelers.
Yeah, it looked like Bud Dupree got an early jump, and that was a heck of a pass rush, but he beat the snap.
Offside, defense, number 48. 5-yard penalty, replay, 4th down.
Right down at the bottom of the screen.
Dupree's going to be the one that he gets a little bit of a lean, and then he never gets back. He gets a little, see that stutter right before he took off? Got him in the neutral zone.
Steelers use a timeout here with 7:49 to play on 4th and 5. I know you said that the weather is at fault here, and on the flip side of that, you told us at the very beginning that Ben Roethlisberger is the best bad weather quarterback in the league.
Yeah, and he struggled too, but
Well, and even you go to the first half, Greg, the fact that Ben Roethlisberger had those 3 interceptions in the first half, 2 of those 3 weren't because of weather. One went through the hands of Jesse James, so you can account that to weather. The 2 interceptions he had thrown to AB were just miscommunication. One, he tried scrambling to the side, stared him down, and Ward peeled off and got the pick. The other was the play down the middle of the field.
What's your best 4th and 5 play?
I'll get it to Jarvis Landry or Duke Johnson, one-on-one, because it's going to be man coverage.
Taylor lofting it for the end zone, overthrown, incomplete. Jarvis Landry, the intended receiver.
Landry in the slot.
Going on the double move again. This time he picked it up. Again, the running back got run over. He didn't have time to set his feet to make an accurate ball, but that's a great route. Your guy won for you. You got to get him the ball.
Well, it was the jam on the outside receiver that caused it. It didn't allow that free release by Landry. The jam on the outside pushed the receiver all the way in. So Landry had to hesitate. He couldn't get out there as fast as he wanted to get. And then, as you said, the pressure doesn't afford Tyrod Taylor the time to allow him to get up the field.
Yeah, the Browns' backs have a real tough time right now in pass protection in this game versus their inside linebackers, the Steelers.
Melanie Collins sends word from down below that Joe Hayden is out with a hamstring injury, the cornerback for the Steelers. Connor lost the ball, picked up by the Browns to the 5, looking for the end zone. He comes out short. He's out of bounds at about the 1. That's Jabril Peppers.
How quickly this game turns around as the Browns fans were beginning to file out of the stadium after that last play. Now all of a sudden a fumble occurs. Peppers picks it up. He does get down at the 1. The ball comes loose after Peppers. So the Steelers are saying the ball went out of the end zone. It should be a touchback going the other way. He was down and out of bounds before the ball comes loose. He re-secures it, and then you see it come loose there. The play will be reviewed because it was a turnover, so there's going to be clarification one way or another.
Yes. And again, what a shame. James Conner had such a great game. Ball security in the last 5-7 minutes is a premium. You have to have 2 hands on the ball, and Garrett made a great play from behind, stripping him.
Myles Garrett in the backfield immediately from the snap.
So Peppers.
Ruling on the field is confirmed. First down, Cleveland at the 1-yard line.
Watch Peppers' leg out of bounds there before he reaches the pylon. But the ball was definitely moving.
Yeah, I think that's another one that was so close, it couldn't be overturned. The ruling on the field stands.
From the 1-yard line.
Well, and they confirmed it pretty quick.
Carlos Hyde looking for the end zone. Touchdown.
Now we got a ball game.
How quickly the emotions of this game change.
You know, very few times can you turn the ball over 4 times on the road and win in the National Football League. And the Steelers have been the worst enemies today.
Well, and you said it, that James Conner is having such a tremendous day, but when it's this clutch situation, under 8 minutes to go in the game, you got a 2-touchdown lead. You have to secure the football, and Myles Garrett comes from behind, forces the fumble, and sets up this touchdown run by Carlos Hyde.
Zane Gonzalez for the extra point. Carlos Hyde going to bust through the right side and find the goal line.
Well, and Vince Williams came through on a blitz on the backside. Did you see him? Coach came through. I thought he was going to make contact in the backfield before that handoff could take place. Yeah. And fortunately for the Browns, they were able to make the connection on the handoff and Hyde get it into the end zone.
I just noticed James Conner took the gloves off. Yesterday, he talked about not wearing gloves. And some of those gloves, they get real slick near the end of the game, so he just took them off.
That's good. Plenty of time left. 7:32. in regulation. And it's 21-14 Pittsburgh. Once again, Gene Steratore joins us from New York. Gene, what about that play down by the goal line where they made an awfully quick decision as to whether or not that ball might have rolled through the end zone and out?
Really interesting play, Greg. And if you really look at this, guys, he is fumbling the football as he's falling. So it's a fumble, but he's also out of bounds right there. And when he is out of bounds and the ball is touching him, the ball becomes dead and out of bounds. So the fact that the runner has fumbled the ball, but he's laying out of bounds and it touches him, as we watch it here, fumble, fumble. Now he's out of bounds touching the ball before it goes through the end zone. So actually the ball is dead because it's landing on a player who's out of bounds. So we put the ball at the 1 yard line as it's just a fumble out of bounds then.
So whether the ball's secure or not, because he's making contact with the ball, when he contacts out of bounds with his foot, that's what makes it an immediate dead ball.
That's exactly right, Trent. Exactly right.
All right, Gene, thank you so much. This is Ryan Switzer on the run at the 15-yard line. And out close to the 30.
It's a first. We had a kicking play with no penalty.
Yet.
Think about what's happened here in the last couple minutes, though. We had the punt, which was right on the sideline of the Steelers. It looked like it hit the Browns player, and the Steelers were going to get the ball at midfield. It was not ruled that way. The Browns get the ball. They go down. They don't do anything. The Steelers get the ball. It's a fumble. The other, I mean, just the last few minutes, all of a sudden.
After a 4th and 5, great
right.
defense, and then you give it right back to them on the 1 yard line.
So let's see what the Cleveland defense can do.
Whole new game for Steelers offense now.
They're back to one high safety. Got rid of that double safety look. Now they got everybody in the box. 9 guys near the line. 10 guys near the line.
Roethlisberger throwing, completing. Juju Smith-Schuster. Out of bounds at about the 45-yard line. By the way, it is still raining.
Well, and 10 guys near the line of scrimmage, 1 deep safety. You got man-to-man across the board. You better get to Ben, and all of a sudden you're going to get some separation they took advantage of.
And that's probably one of their number 1 running plays. They went play action, number 1 running play, got the crossing route with Juju.
Got the linebackers to bite up, create that window in the second lane.
17-yard pickup. Juju Smith-Schuster, 119 yards receiving today. Hit from behind. The ball is loose. Do the Browns have it? They do. Joe Schobert fell on the loose ball. Myles Garrett delivered another big hit to shake it loose.
Well, if this stays a fumble and doesn't turn into an incompletion, I think the ball's coming loose before his arm's coming forward. That would be 5 turnovers on the day for the Steelers. You see the low snap, and Ben tries to secure it. Garrett just gets contact to him before he can get rid of it. Schobert with the recovery.
Yeah, that's one of those ones you just got to eat it. You know, it's a bad snap, but that's a fumble all the way.
Wow. The Browns at the Pittsburgh 37. Taylor hands it to Carlos Hyde. Maybe a yard. We'll call it 2nd and 9. Myles Garrett has made his presence felt today.
He's been more disruptive on running plays, but he also is a great pass rusher. He's caused a bunch of turnovers.
Hey, we're gonna go.
Hyde again and going nowhere. Going to lose yardage. T.J. Watt.
Here we go again, Trent. Thought they had the right look for the audible, and the Steelers just blew it up. And, boy, they had single coverage on both guys outside. When he said alert, alert, I thought he was going downtown.
That's exactly what I thought. Go alert, alert. They got the guys in the box. They got one-on-one on the outside, and I thought he was checking to the pass as well, Coach. And T.J. Watt came through, split the 2 blockers, and able to get contact in the backfield.
There have been times today T.J. Watt has been unblockable. 3rd and 13. Taylor throwing. Incomplete. off the hands of Jarvis Landry.
Well, now with a 7-point game, you have to punt. You know, at 4th and 12, you can't, or 4th and 13, you can't continue to give the Steelers the field position. So now, because it is a one-score game, 5.5 minutes, still got some timeouts in your pocket. Go ahead and punt it away, try and pin them down in there.
Yeah, Cleveland with 2 timeouts remaining, Pittsburgh with 1. Switzer down at his own 10-yard line. Colquitt puts it up high. And it rolls out of bounds at the 5-yard line. Just a reminder, let's look ahead a week. Next Sunday, doubleheader Sunday, Kansas City, Pittsburgh, as CBS continues Super Bowl season. Terrific doubleheader. Then a rematch of last year's AFC Championship. Tom Brady, New England, battled Jacksonville and its defense. Kicked it all off with the NFL Today guys celebrating on the road to Super Bowl 53 on CBS.
That was almost a really bad rookie mistake by James Washington, having his back turned to the punt. That ball almost hit him, and the Browns almost got another turnover.
So the Steelers at their own 5. Connor for about 6, maybe 7, out to the 12-yard line.
If you notice, he had 2 arms wrapped around that football when he got the ball, 2 arms wrapped around it as he ran through the hole, and 2 arms on the ball when he went to the ground. He wasn't going to let that thing go.
The gloves are off, and he's ready to run again now. So he learned his lesson. The problem is when the gloves are off, you do get awful wet back there without a towel.
Steelers turned the ball over twice in 56 seconds to change the face of this game. Connor to the 13.
Brown's doing a great job of getting interior pressure and penetration to make him cut back really quick.
Well, traditionally in this situation, Greg Williams will put 9 guys, 10 guys on the line of scrimmage, go to man-to-man defense, try and pressure all the gaps and shoot back there to prevent you from getting the first down. So that leaves you susceptible to giving up a big play, but you don't want to give the Steelers a first down here when you got a pin down in there.
Then the Steelers spread them out instead of going to the big package.
3rd and 1. Roethlisberger to the near side. That's complete to Antonio Brown for a first down. Out of bounds at the 17-yard line.
That's one of the greatest calls I've seen. I mean, that's one Randy Fichtner has run, and the Pittsburgh Steelers used to bring Hines Ward in motion, run a little quick rub route, sprint out, hit him in the flat, easy protection. And Antonio Brown obviously is one of the best there is.
Soon as I saw AB coming in motion, and Terrence Mitchell was in coverage man-to-man, and he was 8 yards off the line of scrimmage running across the field with him, I said, this is just going to be a quick little flat for a first down. And he got it. Mitchell couldn't recover in time.
Really good play call.
First down now from the 17, and Connor again. It'll be second down when we get back. Time now for another update. JB and Boomer.
Craig, I'm not sure if Boomer's shocked or not. Go ahead, Boomer.
I'll tell you, Andrew Luck trying to bring his team back right here. Hits Jack Doyle. Looks like it's going to be a first down. But Clayton Fledgelen picks up the fumble. Is going to return it 83 yards for the touchdown. Bengals take a 34-23 lead over the Indianapolis Colts with 22 seconds remaining in the game.
Back to Greg Gumbel.
Oh, somebody has to pat Boomer down and just... the old Cincinnati Bengal, it's happening for him again. This is Connor. And the Browns stack him up at the 18-yard line.
Now it's a little bit different, Coach. What do you do? So normally Greg Williams goes to that man-to-man coverage on 3rd and short, but now you've got 3rd and long. So you put him more in a zone and drop him back to where the sticks are and rally up and try and make the tackle? What do you do here?
Well, you know, at this point in the game, they had great success early in the game with the double 8-gap blitz. I'm going back and get inside pressure, try to get him off his footwork and make him move out of that pocket to beat me and plaster man-to-man.
Now, Cleveland has used the timeout here to stop the clock with 3:08 remaining. So each team now has one timeout.
Well, that's going to be important here. With 3:08 in the game, you got the 2-minute warning, and you're saying each team only has one timeout left. So it gets interesting here if the Steelers aren't able to get the first down. And
Yeah,
Cleveland gets the ball back.
That's a very interesting timeout when you need it on offense.
3rd and 9. Roethlisberger going down. Looks like he tried to hand the ball off. Maybe he did hand the ball off.
How about the reaction of the Browns defense, recognizing that Roethlisberger flipped this ball back as he was going to the ground? I think it was Myles Garrett that sees it. Roethlisberger's about to go down and quickly flips it over, hands it to
Conner.
To James Conner, but I think it's Garrett that. Keep an eye on 95 there as he comes rolling through. He recognizes the handoff, and he's able to make contact and get the tackle.
Great hustle and finish by the Browns.
Jabril Peppers back at his own 40. Jordan Berry. Line drive out of there. From the 30. Across the 40 to about the 43-yard line. Those of you who just watched the Cincinnati Bengals knock off the Indianapolis Colts, Greg Gumbel, Bruce Arians, Trent Green, Melanie Collins here. Early on, John Conner scored a touchdown. Ben Roethlisberger found Antonio Brown for a TD. But the Steelers have been turnover prone, and it has cost them. And the Browns are back to within a touchdown. It is 21-14. 2:10 to play. Each team with one timeout. Tyrod Taylor going to go down the far sideline. It is caught. Rashard Higgins. And we have a Brown limping off the field as you take a look at Higgins. That Cleveland Brown is Duke Johnson.
Well, Higgins is matched up on Sutton on that right sideline, and Sutton almost stops on it. He thinks that he's not going to throw the ball that way because of the collision that was going on, the bump and run that was going on. Tyrod Taylor recognizes that the Steelers bring blitz on the inside. He's got man-to-man on the outside. He lays it up that sideline, and now the Browns are in position inside the 20.
38-yard pickup on the play. Carlos Hyde in the backfield. Taylor looking for the end zone. It is caught. Touchdown, Josh Gordon.
Great placement by Tyrod Taylor, putting it to the outside. I wasn't sure Gordon was going to be able to come up with this thing, but not only did he catch it, but gets his feet down.
Yeah, I mean, they saw that Joe Hayden was out of the game, and they got Cameron Sutton twice, the young corner, and just they went after him, and that's what you got to find. You got to find the mismatch in the critical time in the game. Great job by the Browns finding that mismatch.
Well, and Melanie told us a couple minutes ago the reason Hayden's out of the game is because of tweaked hamstring. So that's the reason why we're seeing Sutton in the game. There's 1 foot, 2 foot, ball secure. That's going to stay a touchdown.
That's what a big-time receiver gives you, especially when he's that tall and that strong. He goes right up over top of him.
Ruling on the field of a touchdown is confirmed.
The only negative?
They scored too fast.
They scored too fast, Coach. They scored too fast. Ben's over there stirring up the pot. He's like, here we go.
That broke a string of 9 straight incomplete passes thrown by Tyrod Taylor.
Critical extra point here.
And it is perfect, right down the middle. 1:58 to play in regulation. We're tied at 21.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Verizon. Now go mix and match family unlimited plans. And by FedEx. Possibilities. What we deliver by delivery.
Remember, whenever we're finished here, the State Farm postgame show, JB, Phil, Nate, Boomer, Coach Cowher, all the scores and highlights coming up on the State Farm postgame show. these Browns fans something to cheer about on opening day.
Well, I want to know how many of them came back in. Under 8 minutes to go, down 2 touchdowns. These stands are empty in there pretty fast, and all of a sudden the brakes were put on after the turnover barrage started.
Yeah, there's a lot of folks back in here.
Switzer from the 5. Across the 30. Looks like he'll be marked down at about the 31-yard line. So here comes Ben Roethlisberger.
He's been here many, many times, and if there's one guy that can do it, especially in this weather, he's going to play calm, he's going to play confident, just protecting, and he'll make the plays for you.
Antonio Brown comes to the near side of the field. Over the middle, almost picked off. Derek Kindred looking for the interception. It'll be 2nd and 10. The last time the Cleveland Browns won a football game was week 16 of the 2016 season.
Appeared like Antonio Brown stopped on that dig route, Trent. It looked like Ben let him in there, and he just stopped on the route.
Yeah, Ben's going to keep firing. It doesn't matter. He's got 3 interceptions. He's going to keep firing it in there.
It doesn't matter to him at all.
Far side of the field, overthrew Justin Hunter. It'll be 3rd and 10. .144 remaining in regulation. The Cleveland Browns have come back to tie Pittsburgh. Tyrod Taylor with his legs as well as his arm, getting the job done. 3rd and 10. Quick pass to this side, and it is cut down. Antonio Brown. And once again, the play made by the rookie Denzel Ward, who has played a heck of a game in his NFL debut.
Well, it's been pretty remarkable what Denzel Ward's been able to do. Not only the tackle there to get the ball back for the Browns, but the 2 interceptions that he had earlier in the day. They continually try and attack him, and he has responded.
So now Jabril Peppers back at his own 30-yard line for the upcoming kick by Jordan Berry.
The Browns should get good field position. The one thing you do not want to have, Trent, now is a penalty. You're going to get good field position. You got a timeout. You have no timeouts. You're in a fast-paced offense now. You cannot have penalties.
We have had a ton of penalties today. Pepper with the fair catch made at about the 28-yard line. We were talking about the last time Cleveland came off the field with a win. Week 16 of 2016. Against the then San Diego Chargers under 4 minutes to play. They blocked a Josh Lambo field goal attempt. He later missed a game-tying attempt at the end of regulation, and Cleveland held on to win it by a score of 20-17.
Big challenge here is for these 2 tackles to hold up. Steelers have gotten great pressure, really out of their whole front 4, but they've got to hold up now and get this ball out quick, get something started, right, Trent?
They do, and Bud Dupree's had great success coming off the edge, and right now it looks like T.J. Watt's in the middle of the field as opposed to coming off the edge.
Duke Johnson for a couple. You saw there that the Browns have lost 17 straight games. They have lost 13 consecutive openers.
I think you need to continue to be aggressive here. Why try and stretch this game into overtime? Try and go and win the thing right here at the end of regulation.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It's a very conservative start to this drive.
Taylor looking and throws it away. It'll be 3rd and 6.
Right there, I'm not a big fan of scrambling in a 2-minute drill. Trent, he wasted about 8 seconds. Just if it's not there, get rid of it. You've got to beat the clock as much as the other team right now. You start running around and you lose those precious seconds.
That is Zane Gonzalez, the Cleveland kicker.
Well, this all of a sudden becomes a big 3rd down. You don't make it, then Pittsburgh's going to get the ball back with probably around 45, 50 seconds.
3rd and 6. Good protection. Taylor on the run, throws, and that's complete for a first down. To the 43-yard line, the catch is made by Jarvis Landry.
Well, the Steelers decide to make that decision there to rush 3, drop 8 into coverage. That gave Tyrod Taylor time, and Jarvis Landry was able to find a crease in that zone and pick up the first down.
Taylor throwing across midfield. That's complete. Once again, Jarvis Landry. Clock continues to move. 28, 27, 26 seconds.
Only rush 3 again, dropping 8. That time they spike it. One side of the field marked a first down. The other side of the field kept it at second down. The officials got to get this cleared up.
I'm not sure the Steelers didn't have too many men on the field.
Now
Hargrave came running out. The linemen were getting tired. I think they got caught with 12 men on the field.
Well, that's critical then, because that's going to get them that much closer to field goal range with only 23 seconds left.
Sean Smith, our referee.
Defense, too many men on the field. 5-yard penalty.
So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Good call by the officials.
Bad move. The Steelers were trying to substitute defensive linemen, and you cannot do that when the clock's running.
Zane Gonzalez, the kicker, only 15 made field goals last season, but his longest was 54.
Well, here, Coach, if you utilize the middle of the field with 23 seconds left, if you utilize the middle of the field, you have time to get up there and spike the ball and have time to kick the field goal, so you don't have to stick just to the boundary. If you throw in the middle of the field, though, you better get enough yards for that field goal
that's the key.
attempt.
You got to get at least 15 yards right here if you throw it in the middle.
Cleveland is out of timeouts. Taylor going to throw deep down the far sideline. It is Cameron Sutton with the interception.
Well, he tried going to Gordon, getting the jump ball down the sideline.
Just didn't get it out there far enough. And Sutton, who got picked on, came up with a big play. Good for him. That's where to answer the bell.
Well, we talked about Tyrod Taylor taking a one-on-one, getting that matchup. Look, Gordon had a step on him, just underthrown. Great play by Sutton there, securing it. Gordon did everything he could to try and reach over the top of him and knock it loose.
Cameron Sutton gave up the game-tying touchdown to Josh Gordon.
What are you a fan of here, Coach? Do you go ahead and take the knee and get it to overtime, or do you run a draw or a screen, see if you can't get a big chunk?
That or try to hit a seam with a timeout and try a Hail Mary, but I think right here, as far as with the weather.
With the weather, yeah.
With the weather, kneel down.
Overtime,
kneel
right.
down, let's go overtime.
And that's what we're going to do. Talk about opening the season in style.
How about it? Under 8 minutes to go. This was a 14-point game. It's 21-7 Pittsburgh. Now all of a sudden heading to overtime. Browns trying to get their first win on opening day in a long, long time.
And I think you're right, Trent. I think some fans came back.
Yeah.
Here's what happens in overtime. It goes 10 minutes, if that long. A touchdown or a safety on the first possession wins. If we are tied after each team's first possession, then the next score wins the game. Each team gets 2 timeouts, and all reviews are initiated by replay. As a coach, you become more or less cautious in overtime.
Oh, I think you have to be really aggressive, especially if you win the toss. You want to go win the game. You don't play conservative. You've got plays that you probably scripted for overtime that you want to hit a chunk. Even with the weather, you got to be aggressive, and you just want to get that one on the board with your first, whoever wins the toss.
Well, there was the rarity there. What we saw, Tyrod Taylor, the man known for not throwing interceptions.
Well, and that's what I was going to say, Greg. It was the fact that the Steelers, 5 turnovers to no turnovers for the Browns, and Tyrod Taylor, who's very conservative with the ball, that time decides to throw up the field to Josh Gordon and just underthrew it a little bit, and Sutton made a tremendous play on it.
All right, gentlemen, welcome to the overtime period. The overtime period will be a 10-minute period where each team will have an opportunity to possess the ball unless the team scores a touchdown or defense scores. or team possess the ball for the entire 10 minutes. We will have 2 timeouts. Each team will have 2 timeouts. On replay will come from upstairs, and we'll play fourth quarter timing rules. Any questions? Right. Tails is the call. Heads. You want the ball?
Cleveland will get the football when we start overtime after this. It's raining a little bit harder. It's been raining all day long, but raining a little harder now, but I don't think anyone cares.
Yeah, they shouldn't care at this point in time. Like we just talked about it. People were filing out of the stands with just under 8 minutes to go. Now all of a sudden, here we go into overtime. Got a chance to get this opening day win.
Get to the car and you go, we were what?
Right.
Yes, indeed. Let's get back in there. If I was in the runways, I'm coming back.
Right.
Jabril Peppers, T.J. Carey are deep for the Cleveland Browns. Chris Boswell kicks. Line drive. This will not be returned. It'll go out of the end zone, and we'll start at the 25-yard line. Tyrod Taylor with a last word or two from his offensive coordinator, Todd Haley.
Well, Trent, I think you go back to your whole playbook now. You got your read options, you got your running game going back, your play action passes, and let's see if we can put a drive together and go down and get some points.
They had some effectiveness right at the start of the second half there with that run game. See if Carlos Hyde can get things going. See if they decide to go that route or put the ball up in the air.
This is Hyde and not much there. Those of you who joined us late, Ben Roethlisberger with a touchdown and 3 interceptions. 3 of the 5 turnovers that the Steelers have committed. John Connor, 130 yards rushing in place of Le'Veon Bell, starting in place of Le'Veon Bell. Tyrod Taylor, 2 touchdowns total. We're tied at 21, and here we go. On 2nd and 8. Taylor on the move. And throwing, and that ball is Jarvis Landry making the catch. Wow, that's a terrific catch by Jarvis Landry.
I mean, this guy's amazing what he can do. Twist his body, make this catch, and make this play. And then try to get the first down.
He's running one direction. It's low and behind him. It's a wet ball, and he's still able to secure it. Great catch.
That's the kind of plays that win games.
3rd and 1.
Hey, check 34. 180.
Play fake. He throws it up the seam, incomplete. Sean Davis knocked it down.
Big chance there. Todd Haley took a big chance, offensive coordinator, and he had him open. He also had Josh Gordon one-on-one down because the Steelers were loaded up to stop the run, and they took their shot.
Tried hitting it up the crease there. Sean Davis coming over and able to knock it away.
Ryan Switzer is deep for the punt. Britton Colquitt. And Switzer with the fair catch made at about the 17-yard line. Cleveland Browns, 624 days since their last win. That's just forever.
That's staggering.
Yes, it is. And, you know, with that non-score, field goal wins.
Now a field goal wins it.
Totally different
right.
ballgame.
Yep.
That's why it's so important to get points out of that first drive.
Now here's Ben Roethlisberger, who tallied only 21 passing yards in the fourth quarter. 267 on the day with a touchdown and 3 interceptions from the 17. Connor in the backfield. Connor with the handoff to about the 19. So much conversation earlier in the week about Le'Veon Bell not being with the Pittsburgh Steelers. And then along comes young Mr. Connor in his second season with the chance of a lifetime and has made good on it today.
Well, he has, and you consider 132 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns carrying the ball, 32 receiving through the air. He's done an excellent job with this opportunity today.
Second and 8. Roethlisberger flips it, and on the run, it's Connor. And Connor out of bounds short of the 40-yard line. That'll be first down by plenty.
Great job by Ben, just moving. Finally seeing his back cross in the backfield and slip out against that zone defense. Big play to Connor. Excellent job by James catching this football.
Well, Connor was supposed to be in protection. He realized there was no one coming. His responsibility didn't come, and so he leaked out and got to the side. And great job, tremendous job by that offensive line, giving Roethlisberger that amount of time to find Connor and pick up the big game.
19-yard pickup. Roethlisberger throwing, going across the field is Antonio Brown. We have penalty markers.
Holding, offense number 78. 10-yard penalty. Replay first down.
Alejandro Villanueva. Guilty of the hold.
Yeah, Villanueva trying to block Myles Garrett coming off that edge.
Myles Garrett has been a beast today.
He's put together a heck of a game. The matchup on the outside. Villanueva just gets that left arm up around the neck and then the right arm just to bring him down.
114 penalty yards against Pittsburgh.
5 turnovers and 114 yards of penalty. You don't win games in the NFL on the road doing that.
First and 20. Roethlisberger. Incomplete. Intended for Antonio Brown, and Terrence Mitchell was there defensively.
Oh, Coach, he had him. He had him just like Tyrod Taylor. Right at the end of the game, had Josh Gordon down the sideline, and he underthrew it. That got intercepted. This time, Antonio Brown gets a quick release off Terrence Mitchell. He has him beat down the sideline, but then underthrows it just a little bit. If he puts that ball out there and hits him in stride, that could have had the Steelers in field goal range at least.
Yeah, I think he got caught in between back shoulder and going up the field.
Yeah, it's hard to see how quick or how easy of a release he had got when you're back there and your responsibility is so many other things.
Second and 20, 7 minutes remaining in overtime. Roethlisberger under pressure, breaks away, goes down.
Big sack. I thought he was going to come out there and do a Superman thing like he always does. But great job, great penetration by that D-line of Cleveland.
It's going to be 3rd and 31.
Now watch the crawl here happens by the Browns defender. I couldn't see who crawls on the ground to get the tap on him. There's those deep safeties we were talking about earlier today.
Oh.
Yeah, this one, you like to catch this 10 or 15 yards and just pump the ball down to the other end.
Quick pass to the side. Antonio Brown to about the 28-yard line. Terrence Mitchell brought him down, and that brings out the punting unit.
Then the field position play. You know, smart throw, get 10 or 15, kick it further down the field, make the Browns go further.
Demarius Randall down on the ground for the Browns, and they will look at him.
Demarius Randall being one of the big free agent signings that the Browns had made. Greg Williams talked to me about how versatile he is. They can use him in so many different ways. They bring him over this offseason. He said he lines up at safety, but he can play so many different things. They can line him up in the box and run situations. You can put him in the slot to cover nickel and dime receivers.
Yeah, it appears this is early in the season. Looks like we're starting to get a lot of cramps because this is the biggest number of plays these guys have played all year. The number of getting up there now, so the cramping is starting to come in.
Each of these teams has 22 first downs today. Jabril Peppers back at his 30. Berry booms it out of there. Peppers, fair catch called for, and nobody around him.
Yeah, they had great hold up, but he didn't know it. That thing hung up there for a long time.
That ball hangs up there that long, you get nervous.
I'm going to be safe with this thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a good 15, 20 yards there. He had a lot of grass in front of him right there to change field position.
And no one close enough to help.
Not at all. The Gunners were held up big time.
So here's Tyrod Taylor and the offense from its own 19. Next point on the board, win. This is Carlos Hyde. Hyde trying to turn the corner. Looks like he got out of bounds pretty close to the line of scrimmage. Vince Williams ran him out. 5:20 and counting remaining in the OT. And that's Zane Gonzalez hoping for a shot. It's still Carlos Hyde in the backfield, and Taylor on the move. And is going to run it out of bounds.
There was nobody open up the field. Tyrod Taylor getting outside because the containment was lost and he was able to get to the edge. He continued to try and look upfield. There were 3 receivers to that side. Nobody was open. And
yeah, the bootleg, and you just run out of guys when you've got a half a field pattern. And the Steelers recognized it greatly that they just loaded up on those 3 guys and did a great job over there. T.J. Watt, containing, getting him out of bounds.
Ben Roethlisberger on the sideline hoping he gets another shot. 4:50 to Bay in overtime. 3rd and 11. Here comes the blitz. That pass is complete. Far side. Duke Johnson cut down before he could grab the first down yardage.
Taylor slow to get up in the backfield.
Another really good play by Cameron Sutton. Good tackle in the open field on a very explosive player.
Pittsburgh just used one of their timeouts, trying to save as much time as possible. Only 4:30 left in this overtime.
This OT has gone quickly.
Neither team really able to do much of anything, if you think about it.
Running the football and not being getting third downs. Penalties by the Steelers, inability for third down by the Browns.
You have to go all the way back to week 1 of 1971. You have to go all the way back to 71 for an opening week tie. That was the Miami Dolphins and the Denver Broncos in Denver.
Oh.
Way off to the side here and out of bounds. Let's see where they mark this.
He ran the personal protector right back into the punter and blocked it with his own guy.
He's lucky that he got it away as much as he did.
Now the Steelers are trying to talk the officials into a better field position, and it's going to be the 45-yard line of the Steelers.
I don't think that ball got hit, but I think Colquitt realized that the personal protector was blocked right into his lane, so it affected the swing of his leg. And
yeah, he did a good job actually getting out of there.
Exactly. If he had swung normal, that ends up getting blocked. It hits it off the backside of his own personal protector. So
he really had he was aware he had company.
That was the best thing he could have done with it to avoid getting it blocked. But this is great field position for the Steelers now.
4.5 to play. Roethlisberger, this side of the field, incomplete. Intended for Antonio Brown, defended by Denzel Ward.
Browns brought the house. They got to sell it out now. Can't play soft.
Denzel Ward, 21 years old, and boy, this Cleveland Browns team, just the youngest team in the National Football League.
And loaded with talent. Loaded with talent. All they got to do is find confidence. A game like this brings you a lot of confidence.
2nd and 10. Roethlisberger over the middle. Antonio Brown makes the catch and got hit hard. He has the first down inside the 45.
That's what I love about Antonio. He knew that safety was going to hit him, but he's going to catch the football, take the hit. He knew what was coming, but didn't know it's crunch time, and that's his time.
Brian Body Calhoun.
Well, that's how the game has changed. The rules have changed. Body Calhoun goes low that time. A lot of times in previous years, they're going high. Number one, to knock the ball loose, and number two, to make sure the receiver isn't coming back.
Antonio Brown, 8 catches, 81 yards. Roethlisberger over 300 yards throwing now. The give is to Connor. And Connor to about the 41.
Steelers in about 12 yards to get in a good field goal range. I know they would like to get on down closer, but these next 12 yards are big.
Connor, 28 carries, 134 yards. Chris Boswell lacing him up on the sideline. 2nd and 8. Roethlisberger pulls it down, then fires again, and over the middle, it's the tight end, Jesse James. And James has a first down close to the 30-yard line.
Go ahead, Coach.
Ben has done this his entire career. He looks to Antonio and Switzer, and he goes, where's my tight end? Find me on a shake route. Big, big play. Used to be Heath Miller, now it's Jesse James.
Heath Miller was that guy for a long, long time, and this time the Browns only rushed 4, and they gave great protection for Ben and dropped 7, and all of a sudden, you know,
that's when he improvises and makes
the tight end out late and improvise a little dump off.
Opening day a year ago here, Jesse James caught 2 touchdown passes in the Week 1 win over the Browns. Connor, straight ahead. Inside the 30 to the 28.
He must have had a good pair of gloves. New pair of gloves, because he's got his gloves back on. I don't think he liked that ball too wet when his hands were wet.
It's just been a steady rain.
Steelers going to milk it down.
Yep, we'll get to the 2 minutes to play. 2 minutes to play in overtime. It'll be 2nd and 7 when we come back to Cleveland. 2 minutes to play in overtime. 2nd and 7, and Boswell hoping to get a chance at a game winner. Last time a Week 1 game ended in a tie back in 1971.
No chances here. This thing's going straight ahead.
Connor. Lost yardage on the play. Chris Smith, number 50, slicing through.
Browns using up their timeout. Tell you what, in these conditions, though, this if it stays right here at the 30, this is going to be a 48-yard field goal attempt. So you got to try being aggressive. I know you're saying just hand the ball off, but they had a 7-8 yard cushion on AB at the top of the screen, at the top of the field, and don't be surprised if Ben doesn't just flick one out there and see if one-on-one in the field.
I think the way the game's gone today, I don't think he takes that chance.
You think he goes ahead? Because if you do the same thing.
They've had that corner sitting inside and that safety helping him sometimes to stop the weak side
drive
run.
on. You think he can drive on?
Yeah.
How do you practice bad conditions, Coach?
Well, every training camp you have 1 or 2 days where you just take footballs and dunk them in water.
The bucket drill, right?
And throw it and handle it, and hopefully if you have one practice it rains and there's no lightning.
How about this going empty backfield now?
3rd and 9. 3rd and 9.
This will be a screen.
Or Connor's going to motion into the backfield, isn't he? Nope.
Look left, through right. Connor to the 25. Just inside the 25 to the 24. And Cleveland calls another timeout.
Well, and that's a crucial 6 yards.
Yes, and that's big. Get it down inside the 25. And again, nice pump fake, double screen. Ben had time to set his feet, look left, set the screen up to the right. Connor did a good job of bringing it in.
Last season, Chris Boswell was 35 for 39 in the field goal department and was 4 of 4 from 50 or more yards. His long was 53. This one he's going to line up from about 42 yards out, but it's raining.
I don't think it's as much on the kicker as the snapper and the holder in this conditions right now. And Cameron Kennedy, he's got a little bit of a history of having some bad snaps in critical situations. I hope he gets a good one here.
The holder is Jordan Berry, the punter. Boswell from 42. He missed it.
How about that? 1:44 to go now. Can the Browns get themselves in position to attempt a kick?
Or do they play conservative and think a tie is a win?
No way. I don't know. I don't care who you are. You want to get that win.
You got to win. You got to play to win.
Snap was a little bit high. Good hold. Got the kick down, or got the hold down by Berry. Just pulled it a little bit left.
So here's Tyrod Taylor in the Cleveland offense at the 32.
Monday.
Taylor over the middle, dropped by Jarvis Landry. 2nd and 10.
Coach, did you notice Jarvis Landry, when he was coming in motion, he pointed out the backside safety that he was going to come on the blitz. So he was giving a heads up to Tyrod Taylor that was going to come, and he knew he had that drag route. So I think he had that in his mind right away, that he was going to catch it and peel back the other way, hoping with man-to-man coverage he'd be able to break a big one.
Yeah, he saw it. It's almost like an audible by a wide receiver to his quarterback telling him, this is what I'm going to do, and he just got a little anxious.
2nd and 10, a minute 40. Pittsburgh still has one timeout.
Hey, we're going here, you go there.
Here comes the blitz. Taylor barely got rid of it. Duke Johnson was close. It'll be 3rd and 10.
I tell you, Cleveland had a great play call. They had a screen right through the blitz, and he just didn't have enough time to quite get it to him. That was going to be a big play.
Perfectly timed call, and had Duke Johnson been able to get over there, you got to give credit to Tyrod Taylor. He knows he's going to take hit. He's going to take a hit, and he just kept drifting back, waiting for that impact, waiting to the last possible second to dump it off. Now they've got a critical 3rd down. Otherwise, Pittsburgh may get another shot at this.
Cleveland 5 out of 17 on 3rd down today. He's going to step up and throw down the field, incomplete. Taylor wants a flag. The fans wanted a flag. And maybe for the first time all day, there's no yellow on the field.
Well, and Morgan Burnett got away with one. He grabs a hold, or clicks heels, it looks like. Yeah, that's a good no call, if that's all it was.
That's incidental contact, no call whatsoever. Now, over here, that's a whole different story.
Yeah.
Ryan Switzer drifting back from his own 15. He eludes one, gets a block, and just across the 25 to the 26-yard line.
See, I thought when I saw Landry, saw him stumble, I thought there was a grab in there, but it was just incidental contact on their feet. But as we showed on that other replay, Gordon got wrapped up by Artie Burns. So.
Yeah, you got to play to win the game, and I thought they had, three. That screen was.
Oh yeah,
was
it was perfectly
winner.
timed. You called the screen right into the blitz.
Yeah,
I mean that was if just a fraction more, or maybe just a little bit closer throw, that could have easily been a breakout. And got to give them credit for going for it. Now they got to hold tight on defense. They're trying to get a turnover.
Yep, that's the big thing here. No turnovers, but you still got to get chunk plays. You still got a timeout. Minute 17, the whole field's available to you.
That's the critical part. Is the Steelers still possess that one timeout.
Roethlisberger looks to the field. And the rain comes down. Antonio Brown across the 35 to the 38. That's a first down. Clock continues to move. Remember, Pittsburgh has a timeout remaining. 1 minute.
If you notice that the Browns have kept AB in check most of the day, but in this critical situation, they've been dialing him up quite a bit.
Roethlisberger throwing, and that is incomplete.
That was the shot he was looking for. They got the middle of the field open. They've been trying to get that matchup with Juju all day on the nickel, and just a little bit off.
Demarius Randall defending.
Well, did you notice how Ben, when he came back, he looked over to AB's side to get the safety to come this way to leave that seam on the backside open? You're right. They've been setting that up for a while, and they had their shot at it.
2nd and 10. 48 seconds on the clock.
They got a guy cramping.
And that's Randall.
And he cramped earlier, now he's cramping again.
He jumped up and was excited. He's trying to call timeout. The Browns don't have a timeout, so the Browns sideline was pointing to the officials for an injury timeout.
Well, to me, it should have been a penalty because you don't have any timeouts,
right.
and you call timeout, then you go down. I think the next you get one excess timeout, then the next one would be a penalty.
That's heartless, Coach. The guy's hurt. You got to give him a chance.
Don't try to call timeouts.
2nd and 10. 2nd and 10. 48 seconds on the clock. Roethlisberger from behind. The ball is popped up in the air. The Browns have it. That's Joe Schobert. Schobert down the sideline. We have a penalty marker down on the far side of the field. That came out after the interception, or the fumble, if that's what it's called.
Well, that penalty is going to be crucial because all of a sudden it affects the distance that this
After
field
the
goal.
interception, during the return, illegal block in the back, return team, number 95, 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. Cleveland keeps the ball, first down.
I know they called it an interception. It looked to me like it was a fumble that got batted forward.
And there's the push by Myles Garrett, number 95, that drew the penalty.
You said the only thing that Cleveland could do is hit a turnover, and there it is. I mean,
well, it just started to rain even harder. That's the 6th turnover on the day for the Steelers. I think if there wasn't the penalty, that the Browns put their field goal unit on the field right away and kicked the field goal. I think because now it's another 10 yards, I think you try running the ball, getting a couple more yards, or maybe get it to a part of the field that your kicker is more comfortable with.
36 seconds with no timeouts.
No timeouts.
You got to spike it.
Run it, spike it, kick it.
And Pittsburgh's going to use its last timeout.
Team's second and final
This game
timeout.
has had a little bit of everything.
What a way to start off the season. Welcome to the booth, Bruce.
Oh, man, what a great game. And mistake after mistake by both teams. A little raggedy by both football teams, but really exciting.
Interesting thing about this is the feeling was halfway through the third quarter into the fourth that the Steelers had this one in hand at 21-7.
Yeah, if they lose this game, they gave it away. And
when you look at between the two teams, there have been 23 accepted penalties. There have been 7 turnovers. You would expect those kinds of things because of the weather conditions we've had all day. The penalties have been the real problem for both of these teams.
Carlos Hyde behind Taylor. Hyde back to the line of scrimmage and no more.
I mean, they cannot afford to run this ball again unless they're going to throw it right here and get this clock stopped.
Well, maybe they're just going to wait and spike it, I believe.
And that's what he does.
Not with 13 seconds. If you're going to spike it, take it all the way down.
Right.
So here comes Zane Gonzalez, the second-year kicker out of Arizona State. If Pittsburgh loses this game, it's their largest blown fourth-quarter lead in a loss in history.
Well, Boswell,
in their history.
Boswell just missed a 42-yarder that could have won it for the Steelers. Now Gonzalez with this 43-yard attempt to win it for the Browns.
Blocked.
Well,
T.J. Watt is looking awfully excited.
We've seen a lot of things today, so.
Well,
this one just fell right in line, didn't it?
If you're the Steelers right now, you got 9 seconds. You got to try to hit a chunk play out of bounds just to be able to throw a Hail Mary. Because I don't think you want to do a razzle-dazzle lateral play in this weather.
Yeah, you don't want a bunch of pitches and tosses and everything else to
send 3 guys down the sidelines and 2 on the backside and try to hit that one in the middle.
Boy, what a roller coaster of emotions for both guys on the sideline today. No timeouts remaining, 9 seconds on the clock.
Tight.
Roethlisberger looking, throwing down the middle of the field. It is incomplete, and that'll do it. Cleveland with its first tie since 1989 against Kansas City. Pittsburgh's first tie since 2002 against Atlanta. 21-21, Pittsburgh and Cleveland. We'll be back to wrap it up after this message and a word from your local station.